Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It is great to see you tonight on our night of nights, gallery night tonight. You knew that, right? I kind of forgot, but I got it all together, and it is another wonderful show tonight. Wait until you see. It's a lot of beautiful pieces, lots of different work, great variety as usual. We have such a lot of talent within this group that of course we're going to see a lot of beautiful work tonight. It is going to be wonderful. Welcome to you, Ruth. It is great to see you. Sure. I wasn't sure if it's Shabbat. Yep. Okay. Didn't even think of that. We're here, and if you need to go, it's recorded. But we're very happy to see you. In the meantime, Melanie, great to see you. Hello from wet and cool Washington State. Just diet soda tonight. You know what? Also, should be diet, but it's cherry Coke. I said to Teddy when he ran into the pharmacy, could you get me first choice like orange Coke, second choice vanilla Coke? But they had none of those. And you know how sometimes there's some other ones that are new and fancy. Why don't they have like, I know that Coca-Cola is like like there's some element cocoa but why don't they have like coffee flavored or chocolate flavored Coca-Cola? Wouldn't those be like the two best flavors? Or like even like hazelnut or something, but coffee or chocolate Coca-Cola. Don't get me wrong, I love cherry. I love all of the flavors. I love regular. I drink probably one soda every 3 months. I never drink soda, but I'm with you tonight. I don't feel like having a drink. Tomorrow night, I'm going out with my mom and my sister to see a high school version. We always have to go because my sister's friend puts on a musical. I love musicals, and I don't like it when they're not good. I really don't. We're going to see the high school version of Footloose. I gotta say, I have not seen that movie since it came out back in the day. I think I liked it then, but I mean, I was like a child. I don't know. It's probably good. Don't get me wrong, but is it good when it's done by a high school group? I don't know. And what songs are in it? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. We usually bring a little nip in our seat just in case. Just in case. I have a feeling I'm going to have to save my alcohol intake for tomorrow. So I'm with you with the soda tonight. And cheers, my dears, with cherry Coke. April, great to see you. Happy cocktail night in warm and windy Illinois. Oh man, Kaz, great to see you. Happy gallery night from Wisconsin. Kaz, you were so right. I posted a video earlier working on my piece called Belinda's Dream, and I'm cutting up a bunch of material I got at the Fiber Festival that had it was in the $5 bin because it had little stains on it and stuff. And there were two pieces that were super long with a lot of sort of texture. The video is there. And I decided to start hooking up her bodice with it because it kind of looked like a negligee, and it's coming along really, really well. And I kept putting the fabric I kept putting the fabric around my neck like a scarf, and it just was very limp. It didn't look right at all. And Kaz wrote a few minutes ago and said, "Do you think that's Kaz? You're so nice the way that you say things. Do you think that's a sash for around the waist because it's super stretchy too? And when I put it around my neck, it was just kind of limp because it's like it's stretchy. Of course, it goes around your waist and ties. Of course it does. I did a little bit more. I actually pulled out all of the white collar, and I ran to Joann's because there's still about 4 things on the shelves there. And I got some of that white sparkle tulle. That's going to be like glitter Christmas wrap. There's glitter all over the place. But I pulled out the white I had for her collar and cuffs, and I started hooking it with it's the real snow white tulle with a little bit of sparkle. It looks even better. I'll do some more after this, and I'll show you tomorrow. I'll put another picture update on there. Kirsten, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in Vermont. Cheryl, great to see you on the Cape. You are still doing your post-surgery stuff, a week in the hospital, and then, oh, horrible. Did you go back to the hospital? And then horrible vertigo. Glad to be here to enjoy some beautiful rugs. Oh, man. That can happen, right? That can happen. It still sounds like the worst is over. Is that how it feels? I know that can be tough. Mom, great to see you. Oh boy, I'm ready for gallery night, seeing all your lovely work. Got my Bloody Mary in hand. That's been brewing all day, hasn't it? Been soaking in its own you know what all day in the fridge. And now it's all mixed and you're really ready. Karen, great to see you. Hello from overcast but warm Black Forest, Colorado. Expecting snow this weekend. Wow, spring in the Rockies. Oh yeah, it'll be beautiful, right? Dave, great to see you up in Toronto. You are having your homemade pizza, coffee porter, my all-time favorite. Going to the Quilt Fest 2025 tomorrow. Cheers, my dears. Ooh, that's going to be fun. You're going to take some pictures for the next gallery night? I'd love to see some of the things that are up there. That sounds amazing. Coffee stout sounds amazing too. Porter. Linda, great to see you. Yay for gallery night. Happy weekend from New Jersey. It is great to see you too. Carol Palat, are you in Wisconsin right now? Great to see you from sunny, nope, you're in Utah, sunny southern Utah. Super good to see you. And Diane, great to see you from Canada's East Coast. Got some rum and coke. That sounds fantastic. Cheers, my dears, everybody. I'll have a little sip of soda while we're doing this. I'm still having a lot of trouble with my throat. You'll notice that. It doesn't hurt. It's all fine. But what a pain this is. It like hangs in there. It's such like a, I don't want to be disgusting, but it's such a distinctive cough. When you start to cough, it sounds like there's really something wrong. It's very attention grabbing in the worst way, you know. Mm. You know, I bet the Coke is going to help with that, though. It's not going to help me with sleeping later, but I didn't think of that. I should have got the caffeine free. All righties, let's see. Sandy, great to see you. Hello in cloudy Pennsylvania. Looking forward to seeing some great rug hooking. Me too. Judy, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in Pennsylvania. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. I'll keep my eye on our thread over here. And yeah, I want to get started. Oh, first let me tell you some stuff that's going on. I've got our board right here. Look at how busy our board is over here. It's loaded with notes for me. So a couple things I want to tell you that are going on before I forget. April 5th, upcoming April 5th will be International Punch Needle Day. Now, you know the Oxford brand always puts out a free pattern. I think this year it's Robin Whitford. I'm not sure. People work on the same pattern or punch needle in general. So heads up for International Punch Needle Day on April 5th. Our buddy Rebecca White Martin, Storyteller Wool, she is going to be creating a pattern and also in doing a second project on International Punch Needle Day. That's for Tigger, right? But you'll be able to join into that if you would like. So you'll have your choice of patterns this year. She will be logging on for International Punch Needle Day. I will give you the details later. And she will be showing some of her tips and techniques as a certified Oxford Punch teacher. So you can look forward to that on April 5th. But the evening before is a Friday because International Punch Needle Day, April 5th, falls on Saturday. The evening before, on the eve of that special day, we'll be together for cocktail night. So I would like to do next Friday night, a week from tonight, a week from right now, I would like to do an all punch needle episode for cocktail night. So can you start sending in your punch needle projects? They can be traditional punch, Russian punch, which is miniature punch, whatever you want, but just using a punch as opposed to a hook. I'd like to look at all punch projects next Friday night in anticipation of International Punch Needle Day. So be thinking about that and be sending your punch projects to ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. We'll have a great week next Friday night as well. Otherwise, remember that we haven't done a design like for a while. I'm doing design like Sonia Delani, and she was like a jazz age, early 20th century, very Paris-centric designer of textiles and clothing. So fits her designs, her paintings, her textiles fit in very well with us as rug hookers. Some low-hanging fruit there for us to be able to look at her work and figure out how to design in that beautiful pattern-driven, bright jazz age style, right? She is one of the most lamentably unknown artists of all time, in my opinion, but certainly one of the least known women of the 20th century whose name should be like a household name. So be thinking about that. That class, it's recorded, so you don't have to log in live. You get all the same stuff, whether you're live with me or not. But I will run that class Wednesday, April 9th And then I had to change the Sunday because the Sunday won't work for me. I'm going to be traveling in Maine because I'm going to be teaching up there. So I had to change the 2 live dates to Wednesday the 9th and Thursday the 17th, 2 different times. So hopefully one of those works for you, and otherwise it's recorded. So you get the whole recording, the whole slideshow, all of the materials that go with the class, whether you're with me live or not. Along those lines, that weekend in between, I will be speaking and teaching at the Tin Peddlers. That is a guild in Maine. So be thinking about that. I think it's right around Portland. But I will be there that weekend, and I'm going to stay over because it's a bit of a drive for me. So I will be at the Tin Peddlers. If you're in that guild or you'd like more information on that guild, be looking them up there and at the guild. I'll be doing a program I haven't done before. It's like a design like, but it's going to be kind of a cross between a design like and one of my Edward Sands Frost stencil classes. It's going to be design like a springtime rug. And we'll be looking at lots of different designs and challenges together. And we'll be looking at a presentation that I put together and I'm showing on the wall. I'm actually bringing my old-time screen that we used to use in our family, like every Friday night, the ones that open up like this, and they have that certain smell. Do you know what I mean? That silvery smell of the slideshow screen. I'll be bringing that with me, and I'll be putting on this sort of one-off presentation. So if you're anywhere near there, please get in touch with the guild and see about coming, because obviously visitors are always welcome at these guilds. So that is the very near future on my calendar. I saw some of our buddies just popped in. Veronica, great to see you in California. Your last day of spring break from work. Oh, well, and all weekend too. Does anybody have off Monday? The kids both have Monday off. What is happening Monday? Monday is, just the Monday is the 31st. I thought maybe it was something to do with Lent, you know. Maybe it's just a school thing here. End of vacation, very, very sad. But then, of course, looking forward to the next one, right? Happy to see you. And Kaz says, yes, it's Robin Whitford's pattern. Ripples. I thought you wrote nipples. I was like, Kaz, what are you doing? Ripples. That makes way more sense. So that'll be a beautiful pattern. Greetings. Happy cocktail night. Carol from Northford. Great to see you. Welcome, Jessica. Great to see you. You are still on Cape Cod tonight. Had a great week, and you'll be heading back to Ohio soon. I'm going to show one of our pictures from it, the one of us all together. And and I'm going to introduce the show by showing a little of what we did together when we got together. I got together with Jessica, and I brought my friend Naomi. We traveled together to the Cape on Wednesday. So I'm going to start the show with my stuff and showing you what I've been doing and my exciting stuff before we move into all of the gallery night things. Matthew, great to see you. The Friday cocktails. Yes, indeed. Wendy, great to see you. Wendy, you put such an original piece into the show tonight. It got me thinking about a whole series of rugs, like a shout out challenge. It is so different and so spectacular. Melanie, great to see you. It's a Muslim holiday. I wonder why it's not on the calendar. Seems like it ought to be, since that is the largest religion in the world. Thank you for letting me know. I feel like it should be on the calendar. That's irritating. Pamela, great to see. The calendar loads automatically, you know. Does it for you too on your phone? And it's good in a way because lately, I mean, things get better sometimes. Not so much with, the computer, but when the phone does stuff on its own, I think, oh, that's very good. Thank you for that, because I could never have figured out how to do that. I was driving to Petco the other day so Buttons could have his haircut, and it popped up on my phone a few minutes before I left, like time to leave for Petco. It opened up Waze, which is like my driving directions. And it said time to go to Petco, and I thought, oh my God, good thing it reminded me. I only reminded myself 20 times this morning, and then I immediately forgot for hours. And it was like time to go, and it popped right up, and I thought, wow, that's when I like technology, when it helps you not miss things that they're going to charge you for, Very, very good. And Pamela, great to see you. Oh no, we are just getting started. Hello from Liberty, South Carolina. Hello to you and Tommy. Is it the end of Ramadan? I don't know. Let's find out though. I ought to know. I'm sorry. It's not on my calendar. It's that bad. I live an insulated life these days. Let's get started. I want to share. I'm going to share first, and there's a lot of other sharing that's going to happen. We'll probably run over as we usually do because there's so much content. I was so thrilled to be able to take a trip to Cape Cod. I mean, I'm always happy to be on Cape Cod any day for any reason. I would crawl there if I had to. Luckily, we drove in the car, and it was a rainy day. Naomi and I went. It was her first time there because remember, even though Naomi lives in Connecticut too, she's from Arkansas. So she had not been to the Cape and she'd always wanted to go. And we were meeting up with Jessica and Jessica's precious daughter, Evie. What a sweet little person. Holy mackerel. Beautiful, well behaved, talented, articulate, sweet little girl. It was such a pleasure. So we started out as early as we could, crossing the bridge. Doesn't look very tempting, does it? Oh, thanks, Tommy. It was so dreary. You know, we had moments of sunshine for sure, but it was so dreary. And normally this is like spectacular. The water always looks pretty. Do you know how many cranberry bogs we drove across? Now, I mean, I lived on the Cape. I graduated from high school out there, right? I've seen me some cranberry bogs. I didn't think this was the season. I thought they were so red. It's like time, it seems like time for them to be harvested. I thought it was in the fall that they were harvested. Am I losing my mind? You can't see because you can't see well because it was so gray, but there were just like dozens of bogs as we drove along. We were on the highway, so I couldn't get the best picture, but you could see the ground is red. All those berries are rising to the surface. You know that view right there is infested with those wolf spiders. I get the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it. And we met Jessica and Evie at White Cat Wool, which is the rug hooking store in Cotuit, which is on Cape Cod. This is Massachusetts. And I just love it. I love Pat, her husband John. I love going. Oh, Shannon, great to see you. Happy Friday. I love going. They live in this beautiful Cape Cod style house with these natural shingles. Very old house, nice historic house, 1870. It's just beautiful on the inside. And I'm not going to show you a ton of pictures from the inside because you know what I decided for sure to do. I mentioned this and I'm doing it. I want to do in every episode of Magpie Times, I want to do a feature on a brick and mortar store that has something to do with textiles. So I'm going to start, right? I will lead by example and I will put out an article in this upcoming summer Magpie and you'll kind of see like the length, although you can always deviate. You know, Judy Taylor and I are not fussy with Magpie. We're not going to edit you unless there's a real problem, right? So it'll just be like a prototype. I took some beautiful photos of rugs and corners of the shop and some great inspiration pieces, and I'll write an article. And then in the meantime, you think about what's near you, whether it's a yarn store, a quilt store, maybe it's like a gallery space where they focus on textiles, something like that. Maybe you can start thinking about where you might, maybe you're traveling somewhere this summer where there is a great store, an actual store. Maybe you can take some pictures and get ready to write an article. You could also write an article in a format that's like an interview with the shop owner or something like that. Could be anything like that. It'd be wonderful to start showing pictures of places that exist that you can drive to and visit and put those into Magpie Times because just like our old friend, the Wall Street Journal, when we look back at the episodes where we look back at the Wall Street Journal, almost 9 times out of 10, I think more than that, we look and we say that store is not open anymore. So let's be sure. We wish everybody well and longevity and all of that, but let's be sure that we document all of these great stores while we can. So be thinking about that yourself too. Cranberries are harvested in the fall in Wisconsin. Yeah, and we're like a similar climate. Melissa, great to see you. Happy Friday night and welcome. Pam says, I loved your video on the store. Gorgeous rugs. Yeah, it was so much fun. It was nice that John came out too. And Jessica was in it and her little one was in it. It was a lot of fun. Melanie said, it's Idol Feeder, Idol Feeder, Idol Feeder, probably like that. The sighting of the crescent moon. Ooh, that sounds so romantic and mysterious. Fantastic. Pam says, B rug was on the floor, an older rug. Yes, I noticed that. Did that catch your eye for a specific reason? You know, I went through, oh, Gail, good morning. Great to see you. Welcome. I saw that, Pam. I saw the bee. And I also saw the Claire Murray rug. those are rugs. You know, the Clarimari rug. I don't know if Pat hooked it or if she bought it like that or whatever. Those get a lot of wear and tear. People coming and going all year round. You know, she just had surgery on her spine, so I'm amazed that she's doing as well as she's doing. Because we like blasted in, you know, which is lots of noise and activity. But yeah, I saw that. I saw it, but you didn't comment, and I saw the Clarimari too. I should have asked about that bee rug. It made me wonder. I don't think it's one of Pat's designs because the cat also. I thought maybe she put down rugs that weren't her designs. You know what? I'm gonna ask her. I'll ask her. And then we'll know because it was super cute and she'll probably repair it soon because you saw how many repairs she does there in that little back room. She'll probably repair it soon because the edge of it is really it's getting a bit worn out. All those feet and all those boots, right? Deborah, great to see you. Happy Friday. Happy cocktail night. So let me show you a little bit of what we saw there because man, we saw some beautiful stuff that day. We were just there for the day. We shot back and forth. I always have to take pictures of these plaques when I see them on historic houses. I tried to look up Betsy Goodspeed. Notice the extra B, right? The typical spelling of Betsy. This is like the early spelling of Betsy, but normally we don't use the second D anymore. Goodspeed is a name that is synonymous with Connecticut, so I was curious about Betsy Goodspeed because this is Pat's house, Pat and John. And all I could find out about her, I found her gravestone online. All I could find out was that she died at the age of 61 and she lived between 1827 and 1888. So she had, if she was in this house and died in this house, she had 18 more, hopefully happy years in this house. But that's all I could find out about her online. Obviously, there was more about her husband, not so much about her. Beautiful shop on the inside. Here's Jessica with Evie. They were discovering some of the paper patterns that are around. Pat does a lot with three-dimensional form. She does a lot of stuffed animals. I've shown you her mermaid. I have her big mermaid, and then I have some of her small mermaid ornaments. I just love her three-dimensional stuff. In the basket in that picture was also her sparkle wool. She does a lot of the door sparkle wool, which is really pretty. We had a great time at the store, but I am going to put it all into an article for you for Magpie Times. So I'm going to fast forward to our second stop, which was the Cahoon Museum, also in Katuitt. It's like walking distance to Pat's house. Beautiful folk art museum that has expanded over the years. It's not all folk art right now, and that is the thing that I lament the most. They have you fill out like a feedback thing at the end. And while I loved all of the exhibits that were up, my only feedback was like, more folk art, you know, because the Cahoons, Ralph and Martha, were from Katuitt, and they were toll painters, furniture painters. Martha's father had a furniture business, and they painted furniture. And then you know what happened next? Their paintings became, on furniture, became so popular of mermaids that people like Jackie Kennedy started collecting them and asking for canvas, right? Not, no more, enough trunks, enough with the trunks and the chair backs and the benches, paintings. And then they started to do paintings and they became very collectible in their lifetimes, very celebrated, beautiful work. So the house where they lived is now a house museum. It's very small, just 2 floors, and they always have a couple of moving exhibits. And one of them just opened this past weekend, Sailor's Valentines, maritime art from the heart. These were so beautiful. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'll just give you a glimpse. And I have to say, I've read up on Sailor's Valentines. You know that romantic story about how Sailor's Valentines are these octagon boxes, right? And they have shell pictures inside. Sometimes all shell, sometimes a painting in the center, or like a big shell for a focal point, and then the rest is shells. And the sort of romantic lore of the Sailor's Valentine that, for example, Edward, you know the writer Edward, what's his name, Mitchell Valentine, appropriately enough, um, used to write a lot of history books based on oral history. And he used to often talk about the sailors' valentines being made by sailors who are bored on shipboard with all thousands of tiny shells and tweezers and thinking of their beloved and gluing down the shells. And that is just not the way that it happened. More modern history tells us that would never happen on a big rocky boat. All of these miniature shells, right? Everybody like staring at these tiny shells. These sailors' valentines, the early ones, are, it's now known that they were mostly bought at ports as souvenirs, right? Still a beautiful story. These at the Cahoon Museum are handmade, and wait till you see the great inspiration that is to be found. I'm sure you already know about Sailor's Valentines, but it's worth going down the rabbit hole. And if you are anywhere near the Cahoon Museum in on Cape Cod, It is worth coming. It's one room of these. It's not an extensive exhibit. I'm not showing you all of them here, but you don't get the full benefit unless you're standing in front of it. It's so beautiful to look at these. It's like a kaleidoscope of shells. And in these cases, the shell work was done by one artist. Can't remember the name. I'm sorry. It was written on the placards. And the central paintings were done, I think, mostly by Martha. There might be a couple that are done by Ralph. So how big are they? April, they're about, I'm holding out my hands. Let me get a ruler. My hands don't know, but I can give you a pretty accurate. I'd say they're about maybe 15 across with the frame on. You can make them smaller, of course. I have made Sailor's Valentines. I should have Teddy grab mine to show you as he comes downstairs. I made a beautiful one that's hanging in the hall. Not this beautiful. Yeah, they're about, sometimes they're much larger. These are very collectible. They're still made by artists today. We're talking about in the thousands. Very, very, very time consuming. And even the frame itself, it's, octagon shadow box, so valuable. Sorry. But they can be something like 10 when you see them in stores, but these were more like 15, I think. These were large, maybe a hair larger. They were all the same size with the exception of two that I'll show you. But I think these are all Martha Cahoon paintings in the center. This is a mermaid holding a sailor's valentine. So this is one of those kind of optical jokes. Like it's like her holding the valentine, holding the valentine, holding the valentine, on and on to infinity. But the sort of patchwork of shells, the design of the shells, different shells in each one, naturally colored shells, right? Even the little green ones, I always think they're like lentil beans, but they're shells. Spiky ones, round ones, blushing ones, white ones, ivory ones, coral. I mean, they're just so beautiful. It's just such a moment in time. This is definitely Martha Cahoon. Beautiful. This does have kind of a patchwork feel, and you can see a rug design in this for sure, right? If you did a Sailor's Valentine rug, whether or not, oh, Diane, great to see you. Oh, Carol, you've never heard of Sailor's Valentines? Well, then this is great. Yeah, these are all shell work. If you look online and you want to do it, there's still people who sell kits, very expensive even as a kit because of the time it takes to put together literally hundreds of shells of many different types. So you have lots of choices for design. I just love this one. This would make a great rug with or without a center. This is the center a little bit closer up, and you can see Martha Cahoon's signature underneath. Really so charming. And these are how do you price a Cahoon Valentine? This is another Martha Cahoon Valentine. I'm not sure who did the background of this. If you're thinking, oh, that looks different, it does. The ring, the inner border closest to the portrait, looks like a windy day or something, doesn't it? It's very geometric with oh, Deborah, great to see you, with shells standing very, very, very high up, very three-dimensional. And in the background, this one with the outer border, this one, unlike the others, looks a little bit like a hot mess from a distance. Doesn't it kind of just look like a beach? Like this could just be the way that they fell. They do have an order. It's not completely random, but this one is very different. And for that reason, it was interesting to look at as opposed to this. So something like this is a lot of shell, but this is another Martha Cahoon. Can you see with this one how on the inner border she painted or the shell artist painted the background black, so and left room, so it's a bit more pronounced, right? There's a bit more contrast there. So they can be done in an infinite number of ways with different designs. It is fine work, but think of how wonderful. This is another one. I don't want to show you like tons of them because if you're there, I want you to be able to go and enjoy. But you can find books on these, and they might have an online exhibit on the Cahoon website, Cahoon. That was their last name. I just love this design with the sort of mirror image of the mer lady with the patriotic flags. And then in the center, a beautiful piece of three-dimensional painted scrimshaw. I mean, come on. Does it get any better than this? This is so charming. It's like either it goes on a Nantucket basket or it goes in the middle of a sailor's Valentine. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that so many of you, I guess I just figured it was a universal thing, but you're right. Um, it might be a more New Englandy thing. It might actually be a more Cape Cod thing. And you know what's really interesting is Sometimes when I go to like Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket, there are gift stores where someone will have taken an old pocket watch that's like this kind of size, right? Like an actual old pocket watch, and there's no clock in it, but they make a sailor's valentine in it. That makes a beautiful thing too. And they usually take the cover off so you could use it as like a giant pendant or something like that. There's all different varieties, ways that you could do this, but it is a beautiful thought to collect shells while you're on holiday or at your local beach. You could even mix it with other stuff like, I don't know, dried flowers or moss or sticks or whatever, rocks. But it is a beautiful idea to take something natural from one of your favorite places and create a kaleidoscope with it. It's also a great idea to take one of these designs and turn it into a hexagonal or circular rug design. You could even turn it into a square and just lop off the corners with something else like your initials or the years of whatever you're living in that house or your kids or whatever. But they do make beautiful designs, and you could, whether you're a realistic hooker or not, you could hook this beautifully, and it would make a lovely rug. Sailor's Valentines. Oh, I'm so glad I brought that up. I wasn't going to put it in because I thought, oh, that's boring. But I'm glad because if you're interested, you can go down the rabbit hole big time. Some of the paintings of the Cahoon family, this is Ralph Cahoon, always different paintings on exhibit. So if you do go to the Cape and you're thinking, I was just there last year, not only are you not going to see the same exhibits, the Sailor's Valentines just went up. So it'll be there all summer. You're also going to see different paintings because it's only their house, right? It's not it's not the Met. It's not infinite, and they keep moving the paintings around so that everybody can see all of them. I think this is just precious. Also new to you, Dave. That's amazing. And Diane. That's fantastic. This one has always been one of my favorites. The McGann set tea room with all of the mermaids having tea outside, little poodle dog. I mean, does it get any cuter than this? This moment in time, knowing that people like Jackie Kennedy bought so many Cahoons, they were so fashionable. It just like cheers me thinking about how this is real specific, isn't it? This is kind of like the forerunner to Charles Wysocki, right? It just cheers me up to think that there is a place for folk art in the contemporary art world, or at least there was in the 70s and 80s, right? I hope there still is. And it's nice to think that there exist posh people who still want folk art, right? Charming stuff like this. Not necessarily Picasso's and Van Gogh's, but like charming folk art. This is Martha Cahoon again, and I have to show you there's two of these. They were top to bottom. These remind me, you know those things, those circle things, this was this kind of size, that if someone had like one of those stove ovens in the kitchen and it had a pipe that went into the wall and then you converted it to like, I don't know, gas or electric. My grandmother had one. I don't know the details. I was like an infant. But I remember the stove and how when they converted the stove, there was a hole in the wall and they used to make these kind of tin things with pictures in the middle. Do you know what I'm talking about? To hide the hole. She had one of those in there. That's what these reminded me of a little bit. But these are paintings. And when I saw them, there's two of them. Let me show you the other one as well. When I saw them, I thought, you know what? I don't think there's I don't think there's enough mermice like in my life. I'm sure there's not. I mean, come on. Is this cute? Is like mermaids? Yes, we've seen mermaids for sure. I love mermaids, but come on. Mermice? Let's go. We could do mermaid, mer anything, right? If you think about it, you could do mer anything. And 'tis the season. Be thinking about it. Really adorable little touches. So many things to look at here. This is a still life because in one of the rooms, oh, I don't want to miss that. Karen says the tea scene reminds you of Norman Rockwell style. Absolutely, because you know what? It looks like an illustration, right? That's why it does, because it looks more like an illustration than a painting. When we look at paintings, we look for different things. They're typically landscapes, still lifes, portraits, abstract. They fit into a main category. Illustration is different. Illustration, the whole point is to tell a story. You do get fine artists like the Cahoons, like Rockwell, who did fine art, high quality painting that had an illustrative quality, that functioned as illustrations. You don't always get that because illustrations are usually used to illustrate something like a story in a magazine, whatever, and sometimes they're so specific that out of context they're not that meaningful, right? It's a beautiful painting and it's expertly done, but it's not super meaningful. Well, the Cahoons are right on the edge of that. And Norman Rockwell, of course, did illustrate, but he illustrated universal daily life, like scenes from daily life, right? So people could relate. But not all illustrations cross over. And luckily, the Cahoon style is exactly like you're saying, Karen. But it did cross over because there's such a charming moment in time. And they were really the first big mermaid people, like husband and wife team. KG Wiz. I live in Connecticut, and this is all new to me. Fantastic. The museum's a 3-hour trek. Exactly. It was 3 hours and 1 minute for us. And I'm in Hamden. We left from Hamden. But may have to go see it this summer. Absolutely, if you do send me a message, because you know what else is in that town that is well worth seeing is the one town over is the Barnstable. It's the Barnstable. No, it's the Centerville Historical Society. They always have like 4, 5, 6 different shows on. There's always folk art, antique stuff, painting. It is it's like a world class museum in this historical society. It's large, not huge, but let me know if you go because I have lots of tips of nice things to see to make it worthwhile. And the White Cat is walking distance from Cahoon. Sharon says, first times hearing about the Sailor's Valentines as well. Great. That is fantastic. Well, that makes me very happy. Now, the other exhibit they had going, if anyone is going to visit, was an exhibit of still lifes. I would never think that this would be good. I'm not going to show you all these. This exhibit is about to close. I think it's got a very short time left on it. I never would have thought I could enjoy still life so much. It had good crossover value because, for example, this is a Ralph Cahoon still life. Look at how great this is. When you look at it close up, this is like a whaling log, right, from the Victorian period with the stamp that would say how many whales they got that day, right? That it's sad, but that was the point. And things that happened, like, it would usually be a woman or a wife on the journey, bad luck, taking your wife, but many did. And recording all the things that happened, a beautiful close up in this still life on that little box, like a little sort of cheese box thing, and an actual whale tooth piece of scrimshaw. This is all part of the painting. It's not super realistic. It's fairly realistic, but it's still done in a graphic style. You want to see realistic? Are you ready? Are you sitting down right now? Sit down. This is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. I don't like realism at all. The photo is not doing this justice. It looked like there was a hole punched in the wall and that this was the view. It was uncanny. This is by Scott Pryor. It was uncanny. This was so beautiful. The glow coming through the glass, past the flowers, the colors outside, the arrangement of fruit, the honey bottle. Do you see the little Mr. Peanut, the little red plastic Mr. Peanut on the far left? God, there were many paintings in this exhibit, still the Cahoon Museum, that were absolutely fantastic. I'm sorry I didn't record whose painting this was. I thought this would be interesting for us, just as a glance. It might not be your thing, but this is a still life and photorealism at its finest. Absolutely. It was so beautiful. There were so many of them. They were all different artists. They were unreal. This is like it looks like an old Dutch master, like a tulips, right? Like a Dutch painting of tulips, but they've ripped it, kind of deconstructed it, brought it sort of to life, and then it started dripping. And the drips it's done with like, it looked like not metal, but like florist stuff, like the sticky sticks, like actual sticks, not tacky. It looked like that kind of sculptural, the twiggy stuff, and dripping off of it is thread, like just pieces of thread. It looks like the paint is running. And indeed, on the canvas, the paint is running. This is a deconstructionalist still life. It's not for everybody, for sure. But as an idea, I thought it was really interesting. The passage of time, not all, what's that, Robert Frost? Nothing gold can stay, right? Beauty can't last. Whatever, choose your own cliche, right? Fill in the blank with your own cliche. But it is kind of an homage to that thought. And I thought, it's not exactly beautiful, but it has something, doesn't it? And we walked around the house a little bit. I'm just going to walk you out with me. All the stenciling and stuff from the Cahoon era. The floors are all painted because, of course, they were furniture painters first. They had great interactive. It's a very small museum, don't get me wrong. But they had these red screens that you could hold up in front of these tonalist paintings. It was really interesting because we hold these up as quilters and rug hookers to get a feel for what tones we're looking at. And then one of the interactive exhibits was a scratch board thing. They had a whole station set up where you could grab a scratch board and make your own picture. So people made their own pictures. I made one of the pictures here. See if you can spot it. I left it up on the board. I'm going to show you which one. The person who did the woman's face, that's incredible. And the tulips, there's some incredible ones here. I did the very graphic one, the mermaid. But I did translate. I traced this out. I left this at the museum, but I traced it out into a pattern. And Patreon members, you will see this after the show. I'm going to send this to you as a pattern if you're interested in hooking a mermaid. I wanted to share part of the fun of this day and getting together with two other rug hookers, Naomi and Jessica, and her daughter Evie, Precious. It was just a wonderful day getting together, talking about art, being inspired. Yes, I bought a lot of wool. This is the old Cahoon sign that was outside when I used to live there. I way prefer this to the just plain graphic bold letters that they've got now. We probably all do. And here are the four of us. And then we went to Wimpy's. Remember the Wimpy's chains from like Popeyes? I'll give me a hamburger today and I'll pay for it Tuesday. We went to, I think, the only Wimpy's left. And we had a great meal there too, seafood and chowder and all that stuff. It was a wonderful day. Jessica and Evie, it was so much fun being with you. I had a great day. I loved it. I would repeat that any day. Highly recommend. You could tell Pam that was my mermaid, right? Who else, right? All right, let's dive in now. Let me just take a quick sip of my Coke and let me get into our paperwork here. Danielle, we haven't heard from you for a while, so I'm very happy to hear from you. And I think you sent this to me last time, and I was enough of a ding-dong to have missed it in the mail, and I super apologize. Just a quick shout out. You know that when we have these nights, I took an item of clothing off. Don't be surprised. Still dressed. Getting warm in here. If you send me something and I don't put it into gallery night, it's because I'm a ding-dong and I lost it, or I forgot to forward it to Shannon, who puts these together for us. Thank you so much, Shannon. It's not that I did it on purpose. It's never that I did it on purpose. If I didn't put it in, please send me a message and say, mine must have fallen through the cracks. I will put it in next time. I'll send it right out to Shannon. Don't be shy and never take it as an insult. I would never do that. It's just a lot of mail that comes in, you know. Oh, I'm so thirsty. All right. Coming back over here. Danielle writes to say, hi, Deanna. I'm excited to see what people have been working on for gallery night. Work and life in general have been very busy, so I'm glad to finally have time to write in. I started a drawing and ceramics class at the community college near me. Let me come back to you for a second. They're both really fun, but time consuming. Sorry, thought I came back. I'm learning a lot, so expect more drawing in my rug plans for the future. So much fun to take a class in anything, isn't it? No, it is more time away, but remember that saying, there's exactly enough time for everything that's important. If it's important to you, you have to make time for it. And if you're thinking, there's just no more time, I know that feeling too, but I still weasel in time to do things here and there, like take a day trip to Cape Cod and go to the Cahoon Museum because I wouldn't want to miss those sailors' valentines or the still lifes. There's always time for the important things, isn't there? I've been slowly experimenting on a pair of pants. I found these at the thrift store and thought they'd be great to work on. I think I'm going to slowly hook into less fabric as I go down the pants to cut down on the weight. Ooh, yeah, hooking into the pants would become heavy fast, like walking in, like, I don't know, what do you call those things that are they gauchos? The things that cowboys wear that are like flap off you. They're like heavy, you know what I mean? Must feel like wearing that. I think they'll be super warm to wear when I am done. I'll also add a few photos of some crochet pieces that I've made as well. I've enjoyed making stuffed animals and bugs. We'll look at that too. Let's start with the jeans before I get too far. I'm wondering if these are the pants. I think, can they be the pants? They could be. Let me see. And a pair, she didn't say jeans, she said a pair of pants. You know, this could be the pair of pants. Wow. If that is, I'm not sure, Danielle, if you are on. If that is, these are going to be heavy but beautiful. I can't wait to see more. I'm thinking it must be. Let me look at the next photo. I'm thinking chaps. Thank you. That's what I'm thinking. Not gauchos. Gauchos are just like flared, shorter pants, like capris, right? But flared chaps. Yeah. Good, good, good. I have a pair of gauchos. What am I talking about? I love them. Jean ones. This is absolutely beautiful. As usual, Danielle hooking in the style, the old time style of thrift. Finding material at thrift stores, always using material that's like repurposed, recycled, super green approach to hooking, and hooking into the pants. So these pants must be knit. I think I'm getting it now. I think these pants are knit. This is going to be a fashion statement. We have seen clothing and hooking crossing over more often lately. This is going to be another one of those examples. Danielle, keep us posted. I love the movement and the color. Yes, I get what you're saying with the weight. I don't know that I would have thought of that either. That's really interesting. You're making me think it would be really fun to, I don't know, on the back of pants, possibly. I'm just thinking that I have some jeans that like kind of sailor style jeans that have the big square pockets on the front, like at the top of your leg, not too high up, not like regular pockets, but like square patch pockets. Those would be nice pockets to put a little rug hooking on. Of course, you could brush up against something and like it could get damaged, but yeah, live dangerously, right? Really interesting. Definitely keep us updated on this. I'm curious to see it take shape. And you are also working on some crochet projects. You are working on your stuffed animals and bugs. This looks like a beautiful butterfly. I love how you did the edges on it too. I don't know. I'm wondering if you stuffed the center and then, because you're using that sort of chenille yarn. It's hard to tell when you're hooking or crocheting with that chenille yarn. It's got so much movement and so much twist and so many tricks of light, right, in the texture of it. It's always hard to tell what it's doing. So I can't tell if you crocheted it or you stuffed more of it. I can definitely tell that you crocheted the edges. This is a large piece because I'm looking at that penny and the pencil for size relation, and it's like, that's a big butterfly. That is absolutely beautiful. You've got your fiber bling going. I see. I see. Okay, I'm looking at it, and you've got some stuff wired. You've got the legs wired and the antennae wired. Okay, that makes sense. I'm seeing that now. I'm thinking that the body is stuffed and wired, and that you are crocheting the wings. That is a lot of fun. This is maybe the inspiration. I see. This has got to be because he's got those blue flecks in his wings. This is a beautiful. Is this a butterfly? This is a butterfly, right? Not a moth, a butterfly. Yes, because moths, yes, because butterflies always land with their wings open, right? And moths land with their wings closed. I wonder what variety this is. I'm hoping that this is the year we can go to a butterfly park, with the kids. Oh, this is a good how-to. This is a different bug for sure, right? This is really fun that you're getting into this. You always, Danielle, you always get going on a project. Sue's great to see you. And you, just like the emojis, the first thing that we saw you work on, and you just give it your all. You get into this sort of collector's mindset of working on something and doing a series. I love that about you. You commit to huge, oh my gosh, I think that's a sloth. That is too cute. That is too cute. I just love a sloth. Doesn't everybody, right? That is just adorable. So you're working on some different stuff, and this is a product of your class, right? So you said, I haven't drawn much before and never really understood how to do anything complex. So when I discovered I could do this in 3 weeks, I was hooked. My teacher is amazing and really knows how to break it down. Thanks for looking at my work. Hope you're all doing well and getting enough rest. Oh, that is so sweet. This is really inspiring. You're working on rug stuff. You're doing a hooked piece right into your clothing. You're doing this series of bugs, butterflies, and you've got this class at the community college where you're painting, like doing fine art painting. And it sounds like you don't have experience doing this, but you're obviously doing great work. This is beautiful. You're learning all of these principles, and you already plan to apply them to your hooking work and your rug projects. I think that's amazing. It's so great to experiment and grow and try new things. Oh, I think this must be one, right? This must be one. The little elephant. It's got no. No, Melissa. Yep, Melissa, this is you. It's just a coincidence that there were two fiber animal things next to each other. Melissa, this is you. Danielle, thank you so much for sending that stuff in. Keep us updated on all all of the different things that you're doing. That is super fun. Melissa. Hello, everyone. It is so great to be with you. I am sending two different fiber projects tonight. The first one is the latest member of the Longhorn family. I have a little series going. This is Kate Longhorn, my fifth, who is proudly standing in front of her latest quilt. Oh, that is so cute. Years ago, I found an easy Georgia O'Keeffe pattern of a cow skull. Okay, so wait, this is the first one. And wait a minute, I know what you mean. So before my mouth is going to run anymore, hold on. I'm going to bring us to, this is absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable. I would love a little collection of these guys. Hold on, I'm just trying to figure out where we are. Here we are. There we are. And that's what we want. Um, oh, okay, wait a minute. Let me back up a little bit. Um, Years ago, I found an easy Georgia O'Keeffe drawing pattern of a cow skull, which I used in the hooking project. That's a really clever idea because it's so you see like an animal skull and you immediately go to Georgia O'Keeffe, right? I mean that's so also her flowers, but equally distinctive for sure. This is what I should have read first. I'm sorry, I read them out of order. So this is the longhorn. Okay, I thought longhorn might be a variety of elephant. Forgive me. I'm an idiot. Okay, let's do this again. Melissa, I just completely cocked that up. So, first this. This is the latest member of the Longhorn family, which makes sense because it's a skull. Got it. And you do have this series going. So this is Kate Longhorn the fifth. Got it. Um, I'm so sorry. Proudly standing in front of her quilt. So behind her, that checkered, sort of the square pattern behind her is her quilt. That's a great piece of storytelling there, I gotta say. She's like standing in front of her own quilt and she's dressed in clothing. That is absolutely adorable. I love the idea of thinking about O'Keeffe in that way, as a vibrant, living, upright character who does crafts. I mean, that's like a charming children's book right there. That's a whole children's book right there. Because when you think of Georgia O'Keeffe, typically, I mean, come on, you think about dead things in the sand, right? I mean, it's beautiful. Of course, it's beautiful. But you think about skulls in the sand, in this sort of arid, you know, climate and landscape. Um, this it's so refreshing and whimsical to think about having a that's the quilt behind Sue's. That's her quilt that she made that she's standing in front of. It's so whimsical to think about her having a storyline and making quilts and doing crafts. It's absolutely adorable. All right, here let's do this again because I managed to screw it up. Oops, wait a minute. Oh, come on, Deanna. There we go. Sorry about that. The second is a knitting project. Oh, that is knit, isn't it? Melissa, you're really good at knitting. I mean, how do you even, I know when you're a knitter, you do know, but how do you know? I mean, this is just bewildering to me. I mean, knitting flat stuff is confusing enough, but knitting 3D stuff, holy mackerel. It's a little elephant I knitted from an online pattern. There's the answer. I think I'd like to knit more and have them lined up trunk to tail on a little hooked mat of paisleys. Ooh, that's a great idea. Like paisleys for India. Ooh, that's a great idea. You know what that reminds me of? I have a collection of these. I know you've seen them. I don't know what they're called. I've only seen them like hung on doors and stuff. That's what I do with mine. I had one when I was at the studio. You used to see it behind me. It's like a string, a long string of all these. For me, I have stuffed birds. I think they're all birds, but I have seen elephants. And they're definitely made in some eastern country. I don't know where, maybe India. And there's like a bell at the bottom. Do you know what I mean? Like a little cowbell. And there's beads that separate them, and it's like a bunch of bodies one by one that are stuffed, that are that make up this string with the bell on the bottom. And then, I have a bunch of them, so I hang them on the door and open it and the bell rings. Do you know what I mean? That could be something that's done three-dimensional as well. That could be a really fun textile project to do, because it is like a string of little bodies with these beautiful beads in the middle. The beads could also be pom-poms, or the felt balls from the dryer, because you can dye those felt balls, right? They're like 100% felt. They don't have to be the big ones from the dryer. They can be the small ones. There's teeny ones too. Okay, I'm stopping. Lots of ideas. Um, I've never heard of these. Interesting. Okay, well, super fun. Super fun. We're touching on a lot of different things tonight. Isn't that great? I love that. I might have to blow my nose though. Let me. I'm going to start the next one. Hold on. Let me get poised. Just give me a minute. I'm going to put my volume off for a second. I'm going to blow. Okay. Sorry about that. Turned out I didn't really need to blow. I'm just stuffed up, I guess. Sorry. Hopefully, I don't sound as stuffed up as I feel, and I feel fine, so we're good. Melissa, thank you so much for sending those. Those are so sweet. Two adorable projects. Is that like a little Peter Rabbit character to the right? I gotta know. I love looking at your Facebook page because I love seeing the stuff in your house and all the stuff that you post. I love it all. It's such a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Such a lot of fun. All right, next one, Ruth. Okay, Ruth, you took this pattern from the Rose book that is called Joseph's Coat. The Joseph's Coat is a rose. It's a beautiful rose with lots of colors in it, as you could imagine, right? And I really appreciate you taking this one. I knew that this wouldn't be a design that's appealing to everyone, but I'm glad that it appealed to you. And it's coming out. Oh, little Beatrix Potter. Fair. Tom Kitten. Oh, of course that was Tom Kitten. Of course that was. It looked familiar, that little thing. That was so cute. You know what I saw the other day? Do you remember, like in the 80s, maybe even 70s, they used to sell those little mice with the tiny red plastic noses, but the fur felt like real fur, now that I think about it, and they had clothing on. Do you know what I mean? They were like little mice like this, and they felt like real fur with a little red nose, little black eyes, like little pins. And, sometimes they had on like a Jane Austen style gown, but sometimes they had like a little mob cap. Do you know what I mean? God, I used to love those things. It's Peter Rabbit figurine, Tom Kitten. Oh, you all know. You all know. So cute. All right. So coming over here, the Joseph's Rose. I'm going to read what Ruth wrote in a second. I love those mice too. Um, they were so soft, right? I might start looking for those again. Ruth, thank you so much for taking this. I love this pattern. I was afraid nobody was going to do it. What I wanted with this pattern was kind of like, I was thinking about, go, 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 Joseph, you know what they say. Go, 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 Joseph, you'll make it someday. You know the musical? I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about him kind of turning around and opening his arms and having this beautiful multicolored coat on. And I was imagining the coat as a sort of as a crazy quilt with a patch of the Joseph's Coat rose in the center. Ruth, this is coming out beautifully. I think I'm putting these in the wrong order. Wait a minute, because I had two different emails from you. Or maybe I stole this one and I wasn't supposed to say. Well, in any case, I know you're working on this and it's coming along great. I know you said you're going to have it in by the 28th. Don't worry about it. I need it you have another month. So don't worry about it. You have over a month. We are so good. And it's coming along absolutely beautifully. Like all of the roses that appear in the Rose book, everything that I've seen so far is stellar. Everyone is doing such a good job. Some people are doing more than one rose. It's a different format than past books. So, however, oh, thank you. I'll hold on that. I'll keep this. Can you grab my Sailor's Valentine that's in the hall?
Yep.
I just got some water. That's really good. Ruth, this is such a beautiful piece. You wrote, finally finished this little mat. I put the front and the back up. I'm going to show you the back as well. It says shofar. Tell me if I'm saying that wrong. A menorah, two pomegranates, an apple, and honey. These are things that are predominant in Jewish culture. I'll probably do a bigger And that way I could put in more detail. I think it's cool to do something small, um, so you can figure out what works and what doesn't. You know, you're good at doing that. You did that with your postcard too. You kind of work it out first and make decisions to see if it is going to work and what you need to change. That's very grown up of you, I have to say. It's absolutely beautiful. Um, I think it's cool to do so. When I saw this design, I immediately thought of, oh, okay. I'm going to go back to that in a second. I knew I was missing something on the Joseph's coat. And this is the back, right? This is the back. So what a beautiful piece. I mean, you're basically treating this, Ruth, as a study. But I have to say, it's absolutely gorgeous the way that it is. I could see this framed, like just for all of eternity, being up um, on the wall. I'm looking at the thing that I think you're saying is the shofar. Is that like the honey stirrer thing? It is such a beautiful piece. You know, we hardly ever see pieces that indicate any Jewish culture, any other culture other than like Christian culture, right? We see a lot of Christmas stuff, and I've done a lot of I've done Jewish patterns before, but they didn't sell well. And I wonder why. It is nice to see a mix of symbolism, to hear stories from different cultures, from people's families, different ways of celebrating, different symbols. I'm learning words that I've never heard before. Absolutely beautiful. Sue says, "Is it the rose of Sharon?" Pam says, "It is really beautiful, Ruth. The shofar is the horn." Got you. And the bee stir. It's probably just a stir, the honey thing, right? Sorry. I'm a super ding dong. I just don't. I'm always surprised when I don't know the name for things, because I always feel like I'm pretty good with words, but I'm not. I didn't know that the shofar was like a horn. It's actually like an animal horn, like a horn, right? Absolutely beautiful. Ruth, this is really beautiful. You've put a lot of great details into it. I love the background color as well. There's great contrast. You know, this is a still life. This is a beautiful still life. It's very well done. I love the menorah, makes the perfect backdrop to this. I think a lot of people would really love this piece. This has got an incredible amount of appeal. A lot of people would love this piece. Ruth, this is beautiful. If you do end up, excuse me, doing more versions, please make sure that you send them in. Now, let me come back here because I was stupid. And Ruth said of the Joseph's coat rose. When I saw this design, I immediately thought of a face card on a deck of cards. I'm having to find a source for the last couple of colors before I can complete it. But I think that was a while ago, because then I sent you the Joseph's rose, and you were like, "Yep, that's what I thought." It's got to be called the Joseph's coat for a reason, right? Because it's like so crazy and colorful. Sharon shall be a fold of flocks. It's a ram's horn. Interesting. Okay, let me come back over here. It's a ram's horn. It's a beautiful piece. I mean, it's a serious piece. It's also a decorative piece. It's really lovely. It's so different than what I'm used to seeing. My mom said I looked up the Joseph's coat rose. It's gorgeous. Can't wait to paint that one. Oh yeah. Ruth, this is gorgeous. Both pieces you're working on. That still life is like out of this world. Really, really, really good. Very different. Just very different subject. You know, always happy to see something different. It's nice to see still lifes. It really is, especially something symbolic like that. Incidentally, my mom is painting all the roses. So that's why she said that. She's painting all the roses in watercolor, because I probably said to you already, it occurred to me that I wanted to show the rose for each of the rose patterns, each of the hooked rugs. And I realized I can't show the roses because they're not my photographs. And I can't write to hundreds of people who might or might not be living or dead, and try to get rights to these. So my mom is painting all of them, and I'm sure they're coming out beautifully. I can't wait. That is its own art exhibit. Do you want to see a sailor's valentine? I did this years ago. I made this for my husband years ago. In the center, I painted on a piece of wood, which I cut. I used to have a lot of woodworking tools back then. Managed to never hurt myself. But I painted our two cats in the center. They're two cats we adopted when we lived in Amsterdam from the Poezen boat, which is the pussy boat. I know that doesn't sound right, particularly in Amsterdam, but it was a boat that was an adoption boat just for cats. So you'd board the boat. It was actually floating in the Amstel, and there were a bunch of cats that were up for adoption, and we took two of them, who both had stupid names like something in cheetah or whatever, and we named them Sandwich and Lunchbox. So maybe I shouldn't be saying anything about stupid names. This is Sandwich and Lunchbox, and this is I made this Sailor's Valentine from scratch. I'll show it to you close up. It's from scratch. I bought the box and painted it. It was wood color, and you can open it like this, right? I won't fool around with it too much. I have not opened that for 15, 20 years. Yeah, but you can see close up. I painted, that's an original little painting I did in the center. Lunchbox, Lunchy was the black and white. She was my all-time sweetheart. And Sandwich, who I also love, they were both little girls. They were both older cats. Was the tiger cat. And, oh, thanks, April. And, I didn't do, and they're mercats, too. I didn't do a lot with the shells. I mean, I tried to make like a star pattern, but I mean, I'm not a shell artist, and it doesn't have a lot of dimension. You know how the ones we saw at the museum, they're like super three-dimensional. I just kind of like glued them down. I didn't really know what to do, so I kind of glued them down. But first I painted Sandwich and Lunchbox, and I just tried to make as good of a pattern as I could. And I loved it in the end. I made one for my sister too. It's at her house. I'll show you someday when we go over there. I made it when she got married, and it looks more like a cahoon. It's a mermaid sitting on a rock. And remember the hot air balloon from the Sailor's Valentines? There's a hot air balloon because her husband is German, and much of their sort of courtship was spent on the phone, getting to know each other long distance. So he's on the phone, like an old time phone with the cord, and the mermaid is on the rock, like on the other end of the phone, like with the other phone in her hand, connected to the hot air balloon. It's really cute too, and it's like this. It might be better than this one because this was the first one I did, but these were all shells that I bought, like, and I just separated them. This was before rug hooking because obviously it's very time consuming. But thank you. Yeah, it was really fun. Look at all those little shells. Yeah, mercats, exactly. I had a pair of tweezers, and the right glue and all of that stuff. Feel free, great idea, right? Mercats, right? Feel free. Thank you. No, I bought all the shells, Wendy. I bought them all. Because a lot of these are shells that I've never seen before. I didn't paint anything, like the blue ones with the tiger, and then the spiny things. I don't know what those are, but I bought them all. I think I bought everything on Etsy. There was a shell dealer, and they were expensive. And I remember I probably bought 20 or 30 different kinds of shells, and I just bought them based on the fact that they were different colors, different sizes, and they looked like different shapes. And I thought, well, when they're sitting in front of me, I'll probably be able to figure out what to do. And I did. So it wouldn't win any awards. Can you take the Sailor's Valentine away? I want him to take it so it doesn't fall on the floor or something, He doesn't hear anything, so. All right. Anyway, that was fun. It was a lot of fun to make. I don't know if I would have the patience for it now. But I have to say, I mean, it was just gluing, right? It was just gluing stuff. It wasn't like it was like rocket surgery. Kirsten, a mercat in our future. Definitely, right? That's a great idea for summer, isn't it? Thank you. Thank you. It was a lot of fun to make. Both your shell creations are gorgeous. We still do have leftover shells in the basement. We do, Mom. We do. There may be another one in the future. You know what would be nice? Is to do one with a little bit of hooking in the middle. That would be different. Or vice versa. Hooking around the edge and then a few shells in the middle. That's something anybody could do who lives near a beach or likes rocks. You could equally do. Can you take the Sailor's Valentine away? Still doesn't hear me. It's really something. These were different days. I'll say that. We'll leave it at that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's see. Ruth, again, I'm blown away. I am blown away. I love having a piece in tonight's show that celebrates Jewish culture. I don't know much about Jewish culture other than Jocelyn, her whole nursery school was at the synagogue across the street. We chose it more for its geography and how lovely the people were who were working there. But I still don't know a lot about Jewish culture. And it's beautiful to look at that image and to learn some new words. Thank you so much. Judy, you sent a beautiful piece in too. Judy, you finished your Caswell-inspired project block. You used worms from your stash and some found blue The birds were inspired by a flock of cedar waxwings that appeared in a weeping. Okay, this is my favorite sentence I've ever heard. The birds were inspired by a flock of cedar waxwings that appeared in a weeping cherry near my back porch. Okay, hang on. I know time is a thing. One more time. If that is not the first line of a novel, I don't know what is. The birds were inspired by a flock of cedar waxwings that appeared in a weeping cherry near my back porch. Perfection. Can you take the sailor's valentine away? I'm afraid it's gonna like smash to the floor. Then I'll have to cry blood. Yeah.
What the lunchbox did when Teddy was born.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was very, the cat when Teddy was born was very, Lunchbox, the black and white cat, was very angry when Aryan came home, and I was still at the uh, hospital, right? Because I just had an emergency C-section, and yeah, he got into the bed because she was used to me. She was like my baby. And it didn't change after I had the kids. She was still my baby. I'm not going to tell what happened in the end. She didn't get hit or anything like that, but I really think she died of sadness when we were on vacation. I just told you. Awful. We went away to England for a while and she died while we were gone. And I know she was an old cat, but I feel like it broke her heart that I wasn't there because she was just with me all the time. So he came home without me that day and she jumped in the bed like it was business as usual. And she did like a double take apparently and looked at him and saw that I wasn't there, and she took her paw and slapped his face real fast a bunch of times like that, like, and then ran off like crazy with her tail sticking up. She really loved me. Oh, I love that cat so much. She was such a good girl. Just catching up on your comments. um the cedar waxwings, I've never seen Judy. Back to Judy. I've never seen these birds before or again. However, I'll never forget them. I'm still learning, and it was fun to go out of my comfort zone. Okay, let's go back to the waxwings. I've heard of waxwings. I've never. This is such a beautiful story because it's like they appeared in the weeping cherry. I can't picture a weeping cherry. I mean, this is all so beautiful in my mind. This whole paragraph you wrote, Judy, is so poetic. Pam hit the nail on the head. It's absolutely beautiful. It's almost like the waxwings appeared for just that moment for that very special reason, right? And you immortalized that in this piece. And what a piece to immortalize that moment, right? That sighting, that rare sighting in a Caswell piece. That in itself is fantastic, right? Because you're creating a piece that's from, what is it, like the 18, I can't remember, but you all remember, right? The Caswell carpet. Um, and I am still pushing hard on that thing. We are going to have something, I'll tell you, we are going to have something. I just really wanted at that Historical Society in Castleton. This is a beautiful addition to the Caswell blocks that we are making. Absolutely beautiful. Hey, you're still learning. This looks like you've been hooking forever. This is just gorgeous. I love the pattern. And this is a trickier pattern because there's so many little bodies and faces in the nest, but you managed to pull it off. I mean, it looks exactly like what it is. All these little open mouths reaching up to get one of the worms. It's such a beautiful moment. It's a great design. You've managed to kind of put all of the extra lines in a crucible and make it all make sense. Because some of these blocks, the Caswell carpet was made with a needle and threads, right? Well, not threads, but a needle, right? So much finer work. We have a little bit of a disadvantage working in our medium. It's thicker, a little bit more clunky, folky and primitive, and that becomes the style. But you do have to make tough choices with some of these busier blocks so that you really can see all of the details of the original lines. And you have really accomplished that, Judy. Everything that should be there to keep it balanced and to keep it looking like an antique piece is still there. But the colors are just beautiful. And this relates directly to a special story and something from your memory museum. It's just beautiful. I love the colors of the little birds in the nest. I love the cedar waxwings. I love the fade on their heads. I guess maybe that's why they are called that. They're just beautiful. It's just a gorgeous piece. Such soft colors. My mom says a wonderful piece for a wonderful project. I'm not sure we have cedar waxwings in Connecticut. That's probably why. Do we even have waxwings in Connecticut? I mean, I've heard of waxwings, but I've never had somebody say, "Oh, look at that's a waxwing sitting on that tree." I've never had that. Um, I'd love to see one too. What a beautiful bird. It's got kind of a parrot-looking face, right? That's probably what they look like. They slightly different shape and a different kind of a sweep than the birds that we see around here. I would love to see one too. Judy, it's just gorgeous. You did a beautiful job. Your color choices are phenomenal here. And I really do like that there's a little bit of color changing in the background here and there. It just adds interest. It ages it a little bit. It's just a beautiful piece, Judy. You did a gorgeous job. Your whipping is impeccable too. You did a gorgeous job. I love it. I'm going to hold for just a second. Let me just, I'm just going to pause. I'm extraordinarily thirsty. I better put a lid on, literally, on this soda because I'm never going to sleep if I keep drinking soda at 8:15, right? Let me just take one more sip. So thirsty. Wendy, you said something extraordinary as well. You always do. No matter what you're working on, whether it's your bags or whether it's the wood. Remember the patterned wool, the circles of wood. You always do something that really makes me think. You're such an artist. Um, this is no exception. This is an extraordinary thing, and this is going to be a great conversation starter for us. Get ready. Who knew that there was so much beauty in this scene? Seriously. So Judy writes, "Hi, Deanna. I'm not sure when the next gallery night is here. You can always send stuff in between, right? You can always send it, and I'll send it over to Shannon for the next gallery night. For 25 years, I lived in a delightful old Victorian house built circa 1895. The basement held a crazy quilt of electrical wires and circuit boxes. I came across a photo I'd taken and thought it would make an interesting mat. It was fun to hook. I'm naming it Don't Blow a Fuse." Oh my God, right? I bet it happened a lot though. Not just the age of the house, but before updates and things, the fuses just go, don't they? Don't blow a fuse. Cheers. Wendy, this is extraordinary. I absolutely love this piece. Again, in part for its storytelling quality, it being a memory from that house that you lived in for years. And I love it for you. I love that you are the kind of person who could look at this and say, what a moment, like what a composition we have here. Because beauty is everywhere. And I'm not going to say, I'm going to say it just so I can mock it. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's not quite true. Um, beauty can be, we can look at the same thing, right? And I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You think it's pretty. I think it's not. I think it's more than that. I think it's more than that. I think there's more feeling in this than it's beautiful. I think part of the feeling is it's curious, right? It's a curiosity. Looking at something like this has like historical value. It's not just, well, I think it's very busy and the wires look like cobwebs or whatever, and so it's beautiful. It's more than that, isn't it? It's a story about this time in history. It's, in my mind, a story about change, right? Updating as you go. Oh, Jesus, now we've got like an addition on the house, or we've got different kinds of light bulbs or whatever. This needs to change. At some point, somebody's got to come in and put another box in, got to connect stuff, got to make things. And it's just a growing, changing, ever changing story of progress. And in my mind, that's what this is about. But you have chosen the perfect subject, this beautiful old Victorian house, where progress is being staged, like it or not. Right? Blow a fuse, Jessica. It is very funny. I mean, it's so beautiful because it is beautiful. The colors are beautiful. The lines are beautiful, right? And taken out of context, because when I see fuse boxes and wires, my brain just shuts down. In my mind, it's like, not, that's not for me. That's man's work. That's not for me. I don't touch wires or buttons. It just never do. But when I see this, it makes me think differently about it, because You were able to look at it, Wendy, and say, there's something beautiful about that. There's something compelling about that. And I look at it and I say, I do see the beauty. I see the interest. I see the curiosity. Um, it's very odd. Most of us can relate to these moments, the evolution, perfectly put, Sandy, the evolution of connections. Most of us can relate to this. You've seen this in a house you've lived in, or someone else's house, or your parents, grandparents, aunt, uncle. And it's a piece of history. It really is. But it's being told in such a visually impacting way. It's got a very strong graphic imprint. You look at it, you'll never forget this, right? If someone says to you 10 years from now, have you ever seen a hooked rug that's like, a fuse boxes and meters and everything in the basement with this big, nest of wires? You're going to say, God, that sounds familiar. I think I have seen that, right? It's the subject is so different. You really pulled it off too graphically. You really pulled it off. I wish I would have thought to have put in, let me see if I can find it really fast. If you remember back to the Alice Butler series that we did, and we should return to that. Um, if you haven't, you have to go in and look up the Alice Butler stuff at some point. Let me see if I can find this one too. It's not similar in design. It's called Brownian Movement. Let me see if I can find it. I know some of you remember it. If I can show it to you, I'll be really happy because it fits in with this conversation. Hold on one second. I'm just looking at my phone to see if I can find Brownian Movement. It might not be on my phone. It's probably not. It's never there when I need it to be. I can see like 20 different ads for bras, every time I lift my phone up, but I can never find the thing that I'm looking for. We'll look at it another time. But the reason it reminded me of Wendy's piece is because it's another hooked rug with domestic interest. Let's just say domestic interest, like a fuse box with all those wires. Brownian Movement was a composition. I'll show you just what it looked like. Let me draw it on one of these. It looked like, I'm going to bring you down here for a second. It looked like this. And I'll hold up the paper better. It was like a checkerboard like this. And these were linoleum floor tiles. And it was all hooked, right? In floor tiles, it was like pink, orange, yellow, blue, pink, orange, yellow, blue, like very sort of 1930s linoleum tiles. And on the top of it, it was something like this. And there was like a spiral superimposed over it. And what Brownian movement is a scientific term for something that gains momentum accidentally because of electricity. I know that sounds crazy, but that's exactly what it is. And what this picture was it's not a was. It's when they bought a new refrigerator, and Vic and Alice, um, now I can't remember the last name, Butler, pulled the old refrigerator away from the nook, right, where it was like built in. And when they did, this pattern was on the linoleum floor. And because the refrigerator had moved over time and done this dance, it wasn't exactly like that, but there were lines that made this shape. And over time, the humming of the refrigerator created a pattern on the linoleum floor over decades, over many decades. And they didn't know that until they moved the thing out. And before they put the new refrigerator down, Vic thought that was beautiful. And he took a photo of it, and he designed the rug, and his mother hooked the rug. And that rug is called Brownian Movement. If you look at any of the Alice Butler videos that I did, and there's lots of them on the Ribbon Candy Hooking channel here, you'll hear that story and you'll see that rug. But it's just that idea, piggybacking off Wendy's Don't Blow a Fuse. It's just the idea of the reminder of the fact that our homes, right, the older, the more this is true, our homes are filled with small moments of history that are often beautiful and mundane, right? And it's just, does your eye see them? Does your eye see them and clock them and say, ooh, that's one of them? And are you inspired by these mundane moments, right? These little domestic vignettes. I think it's beautiful. I would love to see a full book on things like this. But how do you describe them? Domestic, I don't know, how would you describe what we're talking about? Brownian movement, don't blow a fuse. If you were to go around your house, of course, an older house is better for this, or in your memory museum, the house you grew up in, your grandmother's house, can you picture something that is sticks out in your memory as antiquated, as a moment in time, as beautiful in its unimportance, as something fleeting that will be lost. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to describe, but you know what I mean. We're talking about domestic moments. I'm thinking about my grandmother's house and the um, wash tub with the two roller pin things, right? That she always said, don't put your fingers in there. We've had this conversation before because some of you did put your fingers in there. I think my hair went in there, but that was the extent of it. But nothing happened. I was not scalped or anything like that. But those moments, like to me, those pins have a lot of weight that pressing together in my head because I mean, I would walk around the other side of the table to avoid that machine, even when it was unplugged and pushed up against the wall in the kitchen. I would walk around the table to avoid it because it just scared me. It was like a monster with like a hammerhead on it, like these two hammerhead pins, and it just scared me, right? Because if there's so many times don't touch it, it'll you flatten your arm flat as a pancake, like we all have these memories and these moments. It would be great to try to collect them. And what I love about Wendy's piece, particularly in Brownian movement, is it's not a memory. It's something that you detected like now. If you like to do tours of historic houses, you would see lots of these. You would be snapping pictures with not like that anymore, like this, right? Who does that anymore? But you would find some, and they would be beautiful images to hook. I think that would be a very hard challenge project, but I think it'd be a wonderful project to do. Don't you think? Wendy, thank you so much for that, for the conversation that I knew that would encourage, but also for the ideas and just the romanticism of looking at something like fuse boxes and wires in that kind of crazy, bewildering configuration and seeing beauty and interest in that. It made for an amazing composition. My mom says we definitely lived in houses with boxes and wires like that. The Cupcake House in North Stamford. That was my favorite. It was like what was it, Mom? Like 1860s, 1870s house. Had a cupola on top. That's why we called it the Cupcake. Beautiful stone house. There were plenty of those there. I wish. Hey, going through old photos, you might see something in the background that we would have called an eyesore. Might be something beautiful that's worth thinking about hooking, right? I don't know why I'm so thirsty. Like, honestly, I don't know why I'm so thirsty. This always happens. Maybe it's this light. This is the thirst making light right here. All right. That was really exciting. And I'm open to more conversation on that for sure. All right, Wendy, thank you so much. Thanks. We've got a bunch more to go. Everybody's work is absolutely beautiful. Lots to talk about in all of these pieces. Deborah, I was very happy to hear from you. I hadn't heard from you for a while. Oh, let me just recap here. Finish this conversation. My mom says 1865, right in the middle. 3 fireplaces. Wish I'd taken more photos of that place with the summer kitchen in the basement. Yeah, I mean, that was the best house I've ever seen. I wish we were still in that house. Such a beautiful house on the street where Paul Newman lived. Um, yeah, that was a beautiful part of the world and a beautiful house. Speaking of beauty, Deborah, you haven't sent anything for a while, and I know everybody gets busy with other stuff, but I do think of you, and I was really happy to hear from you. Deborah says, I haven't posted anything in a while. I'm having a show titled Inspiration at my historical society in mid-May. Oh, that is fantastic. Deborah, let me finish reading and then I'm going to ask you questions about that. I have one more piece to complete. The last one I completed today. It was inspired by a little painting my dad did in his care facility shortly before he died. He had help, of course, but he was very proud of it. My mother encouraged him to go. She thought she would have to help him, but she said he was having so much fun that she left him alone. So he got going with this painting, right? Thanks, Deborah says. Oh, Deborah, thank you. Your dad got going with this painting. He made something really beautiful. He had a little bit of help. This is your piece, though, right? This is the piece that you did, because I'm going to come back to your piece, but I think this is his painting, right? This is amazing. Like, this is fantastic. What a great inspiration. This is a beautifully framed view in silhouette, right? Looks like evening. Really beautiful landscape. Color wise, super interesting, right? I mean, this is a great palette, great lines, great bones, beautiful as a painting. I'm so glad that he did this and that he had fun doing this and that he could be left and be independent and be working on this and to make something that is so noteworthy. And I'm sure, I'm hoping everybody who was around him while he was painting this said, wow, that's really good. You're doing a really good job. Such a beautiful inspiration piece. I can see why you call the exhibit inspiration, and your take on it framed exactly the same way. And Pamela says, oh, he did a beautiful painting, and your mat is pretty too. Lovely work and wonderful inspiration for you. Absolutely. These two go together so well. Let me flip back and forth one more time. That is so perfect. Now, Deborah, I have to ask, in the show inspiration, first of all, are you going to take lots of photos? I'd like to see lots of photos of this. And make sure you let us know where the show is, if it's something that the public can come to. Will you be hanging your dad's painting with the hooked piece? Is this hooked or punched? It's absolutely beautiful. I love the colors. You kind of amped the colors up a little bit. Still kept the silhouette quality. Still kept the sunset quality. The frame is beautiful. It's a great piece, and indeed, it is inspiration. It's one of the best inspiration sources I've ever heard of. Your dad making this little painting shortly before he passed away. Talk about inspiration, talk about special, right? And the fact, even if it wasn't a great painting, and it is, you'd probably still be in love with it and want to celebrate it. But it happens to be a great painting and a great source for a textile piece, doesn't it? It's just lovely. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll be anxious. I'm not sure if Deborah is still on, but I'll be anxious to hear more about the inspiration exhibit in mid-May. I will really look forward to that. And I hope we can see more pieces. Yeah, and share in that a little bit and celebrate when that exhibit opens, right? That'll be something to pay attention to for sure. I'll really look forward to that. Sandy, what a fun piece. You wrote our first our first of 3 folk art cow designs, Belle, is available at our Etsy shop. The Etsy shop is Art and Soul Makery, Makery, Art and Soul. Rob drew her originally for a greeting card. She is also available for cross stitch. I think that's brilliant. I think that's fantastic. I hope a lot of people are takers for punch or hook, but cross stitch is great also. And then it just drives the point home that if it's a line drawing, it can be done either way, right? That is really great. Rob made the frame and stretched and laced the linen per cross stitch finishing. I see. Ooh, you guys are smart. Belle is multimedia. A simple crochet for the tail. Oh, I see. I see. A simple crochet for the tail, switch, neck chain, and bell ringer. Okay, let me see. Tail, switch, neck chain, and bell ringer. Okay, I can see it. I'm just looking at everything with my eyes. And bell ringer. All other components are rug hooked using, I never know how to say this, Malabrigo? Does that sound right? I know the brand, and God, do they do beautiful, deeply saturated yarn of many types and roving, right? But this is bulky and worsted weight. Some wool fabric from the Green Mountain Spinnery. Oh, the Spinnery, I've been there. I did a video there at the Spinnery. Oh, that is such a fun place to tour. In thinnest strips to increase texture. Looks like yarn with texture. Otherwise, except for yarn art, used yarns from Harrisville Designs in New Hampshire. Okay, I have to ask. Okay, I want to look at Belle again. Harrisville is the town. I haven't been there. Harrisville is the town in New Hampshire that had all of the mills that were obviously not Harris Tweed, right? That's like UK. but they did produce wool and patterned wools back in the day, right? And is that the town that still has a mill that produces, I don't think they produce yardage, do they? They produce yarn now. But I think back in the day they produced everything, just like Door, right? Door Mill made wool once upon a time. Not anymore. Everything is like imported now. As far as I know, I feel like I looked up Harrisville and it was yarn, not wool, which doesn't matter. I mean, we can hook with anything, right? Um, yeah, I was just hooking with a Japanese kimono sash that I thought was a scarf, right? And that's hooking up beautifully. We can hook with anything. But interesting. Ooh, interesting. Let's go back. Let's go back to Belle. And let's see. Whitney says, love this. This is a super fun piece. The beautiful art yarn, that's the heart and bell chamber. The heart and bell chamber. Okay, where the red is, right? Is from Spinning Wheel Studio. That's a fiber artist in New Hampshire who also sells on Etsy. Belle was really fun to take from conception to finished piece. She's available as a kit with hook, kit, and drawn on linen. Framing, paint, or stain choice, and custom-made frame are available from Rob. I'm so sorry, Rob, on request. That is fantastic. That's soup to nuts. Really, really, really great. What a great project. Whimsical, comical, fun loving, beautiful image, right? Great country image that will appeal to so many people, that can be done in so many different ways with using several different techniques. And you are offering this as a kit. You're even offering framing options with like paint, stain. I mean, this is really, really helpful and handy. There's so many people who want help with those other sort of facets of the process. It's great that you're able to do that. And Rob, it's great that Rob is helping, um, because not, I mean, for myself, I couldn't do the part that Rob is doing, and I don't have a Rob. So that it's great that you're doing this together. It must be a lot of fun to work on together. This is beautiful. Let us know as you put more designs out. I'm sure Belle is going to be a great success. I'll look forward to seeing all of the designs, and we will look forward to talking about them and sharing them so people can find them and make them and enjoy them and feel really confident and pleased that they have a finished piece that they can hang on the wall, right? That is really great. You're doing a great service. And reminder, the shop is called, it's on Etsy, and it is called Art and Soul Makery. So check that out. Make sure you check that out. Sandy, that's just beautiful. And big hello and hug to Rob too. I love what you two have going on. It's just beautiful. What a lot of fun. Okay, Barbara, I was just reading the text. Give me 1 second to take a quick drink. Barbara, you did this so fast, and this is so charming. Let me just take a quick drink. I'm never going to sleep tonight because I'm probably going to drink 20 glasses of water and I'm going to have a real problem, you know. Barbara, okay, wait a minute. Oh, Sandy. No, Sandy, this is a note from you. Sandy, you said you were talking about the mermaid rose because you're working on the mermaid rose for the Rose's Tale book. The mermaid rose is a delight to stitch. She's coming along and features art yarns and embroidery, drizzle stitches in rows. Oh, this sounds fantastic. I cannot wait. I bought yarn from some Pennsylvania artists and shepherds a few weeks ago to incorporate. Ooh, shepherds like the braiding shepherds, like the shepherds that shepherds with the braids of roving. There was a fiber festival near Penn State. Oh, fun. I can't wait to see it. And just a reminder, if you're thinking, if I'm mentioning any roses that you've done, let me know. If you did a rose and you think I might not know about it, please let me know. The book is not being formatted the same way as the Halloween book was, right? That each book is different. So it's not like there's one person for each chapter. Most roses I will only have one person, right? Just because of time and because the roses only came out a year ago. But if you have done a rose or are working on a rose that you've heard me mention tonight or on another night, even if someone else is doing it, make sure you let me know. There's room on a different page for your piece too. So make sure I know if you have roses finished by May 1st. Um, but otherwise, I love hearing about all of the roses that are coming together. The ones that I've seen, I was going to see if I could show you because I finished two yesterday. They were almost done, but I was just finishing them. And then I put Belinda's dream back on the frame because I had pulled all that out. Yeah, so I have a bunch to show you, but I'll keep some of them for the book too. And there will be a book party. So I will tell you about that. I'm piecing that together now. That'll probably be the end of June or beginning of July. Probably the end of June. Yes, Sandy says, yes, Harrisville produces yarn now, but was a weaving mill. The town is beautiful. That's what everyone says. The town is beautiful. I'm going to have to make a trip there. I'm wondering how many people are in that area. I'd like to make like a little jaunt up there, maybe like a midweek jaunt for a couple of nights and cruise around because I bet there's some cute places to visit, some historic houses as well. But I have heard, and there was an article on Harrisville, I think over the summer in Yankee Magazine, and it looked like a dream. It looked like a Hallmark movie. Sheep producers, Sandy says, sheep producers who spin and dye wool. I think I spelled, oh, okay, I got you. Shepherd wrong. Oh, we knew what you meant. Haha, my spelling is good. No, no. Some of these words we say them, but we don't really write them, you know. I would have to think on that too, I got to admit. Barbara, such a beauty. You are a house on fire, and you know how much I love you. Enough done to share my 4x6 postcard depicting Holly Union Depot in Michigan. Now, before I continue reading, this is one of the postcards for the postcard exchange. Wish you were here, the holiday postcards. That is the theme for the summer Magpie Times. Wish you were here, vacation postcards, right? Holiday postcards. So we do have an exchange going on, and Barbara and Ruth are managing the exchange so that we haven't been matching yet. People are first making their rugs, and then you'll hear from Barbara and or Ruth, and then we'll do the exchange part of the exchange. But if you would like me to include the image of your fabric postcard, it's a postcard size, right? So 4x6 of something to do with where you are from, making a postcard where you are from, you're going to exchange it with someone else and get a postcard that reflects something about where they're from, right? Just like real postcards. So if you would like to get involved in that, and you're in Facebook, make sure you look up the Wish You Were Here, right? It's linked to our Facebook group, which is Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. And if you're having any problems looking for it, or you want more information, or you're not on Facebook, you can always write to me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. So this is one of the projects from that group challenge, the Wish You Were Here, and I will be putting them into the Summer Magpie Times as long as I have them before. What's the deadline for that? That's also May 1st. The deadline for that is also May 1st for the Summer Magpie. So if you are working on Wish You Were Here postcards, make sure that you send them before May, or let me know you're working on them and you need whatever, one more day, one more hour, whatever. Barbara, this is gorgeous. And you wrote, it's a great exercise for improving skills and a wonderful way to connect with members. Absolutely. Those two things are so true. It's hard to hook something this small, isn't it? You have to really, small is hard. Simple is hard, right? It's harder than the kitchen, everything in the kitchen sink. It is hard. And secondary point, it's a great way to connect with other members. You get something made by their hands. You get a little piece of history about them and where they're from. You learn a little bit about where they live, what their reality is, you know, what their life is like when they walk out the door. It's a great way to share a part of yourself with someone else doing one of these rug exchanges. But I think this is the most personal rug exchange we've done yet. I love this. Barbara writes, with more than a month remaining and lots of time left for you to join in the exchange, wish you were here. And enough time for me to add leaves. Oh, are you going to add some leaves and finish tweaking? Are you going to add? Oh, I see what you mean. You've got some leaves on the ground. You're going to add a few more leaves on the ground. I want to talk about the piece all at once. When working on a piece this size, it's especially important to step back from your work before making changes. I think that's a great. I think that's a great tip. That's a grown-up tip for sure. You know what, Barbara? You should write that as a tip when you put this, for Magpie. I want to get more tips into Magpie, and I think that's a good tip, right? We need to just remember to write our tips down because we say them to each other. But then if people aren't watching or they forget, a lot of these tips bear hearing many times. So step back with a small piece like that. You do have to see what's working and not what's not working. Sometimes people say squint. If you squint, it'll. Teddy, I'm on a live show. Here he comes. Um, I think stepping back is better than squinting because squinting you're making it all dark, right? You don't really know. It is hard to hook something this small. This is a wide cut, but man, when your lines are right, it comes out like this, and then you're really happy. You got to keep it simple, right? It can't unless you're one of these artists who can paint the Mona Lisa on the head of a pin. There are people who do stuff like that on a grain of rice. God bless you. But yeah, that's not for everyone. That's maybe not for us. It's hard enough to do a piece this size. You have to choose a simple subject. Choose something that you like. Choose something that's important and meaningful in your town, something that has some historical weight. I love the perspective in this. I can just see by your rows that the first chimney rises up a full row higher than the chimney before it. That is rug hooker's perspective right there. That is absolutely perfect. The color changes. The hooking is so beautiful. It's so energized. The little path leading in, and I love the leaves on the ground. I just love them. The little flecks of color. I can see you're going to add a few more leaves, but this is absolutely stunning. It's primitive. It's cheerful. It's very correct in terms of architecture and perspective. It's a gorgeous piece. Hollies, it's a gorgeous piece. There's a whole story there. And whoever gets this is going to be a very lucky swapper, right? It is just a beautiful piece, Barbara. Love it. And from a distance. So you are working on this this is the step hoop, right? Like the quilting hoop with the two levels. Teddy, are you coming to say hi?
Oh yeah, I can do that.
I think he's gonna. No, I'm not in a meeting. It's cocktail night. I think he's gonna grace us.
Up here on your show, right?
Is your shirt buttoned?
Yeah.
All right. He's gonna beautiful piece, Barbara. Yeah, but he's buttoning up.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were on like something important. Or
I
like
am. It's our live show. It is important.
I mean like some like you have to like
Yeah,
talk
you're
to like
buttoned enough,
people.
honey. You're covered up. There's nothing hanging out.
Okay.
Come on over, Red Rover. Here, sit right here for a second. Say hi to everybody. There he is. There's my man.
Hello.
There's my man.
Hello.
You so cute.
Thank you.
You so cute. You all stuffed up too.
Oh yeah.
I
I'm
think-
having an ice cream sandwich.
Are you having an ice cream? Is it one of the Toll House cookies or is it one of the square ones?
I don't know actually.
I don't know if there's any more of the Toll House ones. Those are
Yeah.
the,
Oh wait, no, it's just a regular ice cream sandwich.
those are bigger.
Yeah. They
Right?
are.
So that'll be nice for you.
Yeah.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah. Love
He's
you.
such a good boy. I love you too. Look, everyone's saying hi to you, Ted.
Hello.
And it's a 3-day weekend. He's really happy. Gami says, hi, Ted. Good to see
Hey,
you.
Grandma.
So handsome. Gami loves you.
Thank you.
Gami, he wanted to come over on Saturday night, but I don't know if that would work. I know we go to church on Sunday morning because they have Monday off. We'll talk about it later. He's really missing Gami. He's such a sweet boy. Thank you. He feels like a celebrity. They both do. Jossie was so happy to come on last week. Was it last week that she wore her mask for you? Little breakthroughs, she was so happy. I heard her talking about it to other people that she came on, and so many people said hello to her. She's very excited. Yeah, thank you so much. Y'all are so nice. They're such good kids too. All right, so let's see, Barbara. That's a beautiful piece, and thank you for reminding us about that rug exchange. There is plenty of time to do a piece that's 4x6. Come on, there's plenty of time, right? None of the swapping has been assigned yet. It's the making time, right? It's a sort of long spanning. I know he does look so grown up, but he's still such a cute baby. He's still such a baby. I can't stand it when he sleeps. If he falls asleep, right? Because sometimes I sleep next to him because he still has these like autistic problems and fears. He's getting better about it. I cannot stand listening to him sleep because it sounds like he stops breathing. He has had 2 sleep tests, and he apparently does not have sleep apnea, but he makes these crazy noises where he's like, and it really scares me. I can't sleep when he does it. I think we're going to have to sign up for another sleep test. I know people make crazy noises, but I'm not used to people who make noise when they sleep or snore or anything like that. And it's great. It's like crazy noise. Maybe it's normal. My sister says her husband does like the craziest noises too, but I'm just not used to it, and it scares me. He's getting big. They grow up too fast, but I'm not letting him get away from me ever. I know it sounds creepy. Sounds like what's her name, Bates, right, in Stephen King's Misery. He's never getting away from me. I love him too much. He's got to stay right here with me. Just love that boy and that little girl. Plenty of time to work on the rug exchange. If you have any interest, right, it's a great idea. Just as Barbara says, great opportunity to practice your skills, to work in a way that you working small challenges you to look and work differently. It's a great way to connect with new friends. So for all of those reasons, and to have the opportunity to be in Magpie Times and see one of your pieces in there. Hey Rita, you used to sleepwalk. I remember you saying that, and would wake up in the basement. This stuff scares me so much. I just wish that he would just quietly sleep like a little soft snoring angel, quiet. And I'd like to see his chest rising and falling normally with no odd noises. That's what I would like to see. Thank you so much. He's so sweet. So sweet. All right. All right, let's go. Let's go. We're doing okay tonight for time, actually, I have to say, because it is fun to spend time and fool around, but we're getting a lot done too. Barbara, I love it. You only have a few more leaves to put in there. That is looking really adorable. Speaking of adorable, Lynn, thank you so much for your message. Oh my gosh, this reminds me. Wait a minute. Let me make one more note. Um, Lynn says, Lynn, thank you so much for sending your work in. Dear Deanna, first of all, I love your energy, enthusiasm, and expertise for all facets of rug hooking. Thank you, Lynn. You are such an inspiration to me, a beginner hooker of 8 months at the age of 70 years. Lynn, I'm so happy that you are there. I'm so happy that you are there and that you're following along and that you got started with this and that you already started doing your beautiful work and you have lots of things to think about and work on, right? It's just the beginning. I'm very happy that you're here. And you said, my question is about the backing. Okay, I have the answer for you. Lynn says, my question is about the backing that was used for the large Caswell rug in progress that was shown in your last gallery night. I think Jessica was hooking it and had 19 or 20 blocks completed. It looked to me that she had used a large piece of drapery slash upholstery material as her backing. Can I have some confirmation about this observation? That would be a game changer for hooking large projects. So I can tell. I want to see. I want to look closely at the bee as well. Yes, that is what she used, Lynn. I wrote to her earlier. I think she's still on. I communicated your question, and I'm going to tell you exactly what she said. And you were absolutely right. She said, it's a bolt of upholstery fabric I found at a thrift store that was a bit of a tighter weave, but still hookable. We had a great time the other day. So, yes, so at the end of the day, Lynn, and all my buddies out there, if it's a woven, if it's a weave, if it's woven, it might work. If it's not, right, if it's some kind of a synthetic or it's a fleece or something, there's lots of materials that don't work, right? Linen for clothing and stuff is also woven. That won't work. It'll work for cross stitch and needle arts, but it won't work for hooking. Upholstery fabrics often do. They're often slightly more open and sometimes they're patterned. You can hook directly into them. Do you remember the first Magpie? Oh, our friend in Hawaii. She hooked directly into bark cloth. Do you remember vintage bark cloth? I don't know if they make bark cloth again, but bark cloth is a much tighter woven, but she rug hooked into it, I think with yarn, and it came out beautifully. She actually rug hooked on to sections filling in the bark cloth design, but making it look like a needlepoint, same design. Do you remember that was in the first Magpie Times? That was such a cool article, same idea. If you're able to get a small amount of something like upholstery fabric just to check first. If you're at Joann's, right, and you're in the part of, I think they're all closing, and there's upholstery fabric still there, particularly in the sale area, grab it. Particularly if it just costs a few dollars, right? Because if you go back, they might be closed or they might be all out. It's a good time to grab some upholstery fabrics and drapery fabrics. Just make sure that they're wovens, right? Make sure you can see the weave. Does it look like burlap, or can you see the little holes in between the weave? where a hook might go in there, a fine hook or a bigger hook, they often will work. And they usually do work. It's just a question of how difficult they are, how tight they are. Ones that have a little more stretch, a little more give, are easier to work with in general than ones with no give. That's like the garment linens are no give. Those are hard / impossible to use. But most upholstery fabric is larger scale and just thicker, right? It's thicker, so everything about it is sized up, right? It's thicker, the fibers are thicker, so the holes in between the fibers are that much more pronounced too. So upholstery fabric is always worth looking at. Some will be easier than others, but it's definitely worth a try. Also, great finds at flea markets and thrift stores, upholstery and drapery fabrics, home decorating fabrics. They don't have to be old or new. Decorating fabrics that are a little bit thicker, they are typically going to be good backings for rug making, for rug hooking, and for punch. And for punch. So, yeah, that was a great question, Lynn. That was a great question. I really appreciate you asking that. Great observation, too. Um, I want to look at your B as well. Yeah, let me put this back over here. And you said, my contributions for gallery night are my first ever rug hooking project, The Honeybee, by Haley Perry. Haley Perry is one of my great friends, as you know. Beautiful pattern. God, did this come out great. Lynn says, I modified her design by substituting some of my own yarns for her wool strips. I think I may have overpacked it a little bit. No, I don't think so, Lynn. I mean, I can see it very well. I don't think you packed it at all. I really like that you put some wool strips in. I like that there's yarn and wool here, because when I looked at this piece, the first things I noticed were that there was not just the wool strips, but the yarn, that there was different materials in here and different kinds of yarn at that. And I thought, oh, that creates a lot of interest. I love the color changes. I love the different greens in the background, going from icy, icy light to the darker greens. I love those shifts. That's just fun and interesting to look at. And the materials being lots of different thicknesses and chunkinesses and and widths. It's just exciting to look at, right? It's a very diverse piece. It's beautiful. It's a simple design that's well done. You can tell exactly what it is. The colors glow. It's absolutely beautiful. If it's packed, it wouldn't bother me a bit because I think it looks great. I think it looks absolutely great just the way it is. I love what you've done. Oh, hey, Joss. I love what you've done with the colors, with the materials, and I love your substitutions. She's choosing to go to the bathroom that's in this room down here. Now she shut the door, but hopefully we don't hear anything else, right? There's a bathroom upstairs too. Alrighty, Lynn, this is absolutely beautiful. So this is the first piece that you hook. So this is from Loop by Loop, Haley Perry. Pam says the packing gives it more dimension. Absolutely. That is absolutely. I was going to say how to make lemonade, but it's not even. It just looks great. Sometimes to make something look great, you have to make it, have to pack it, or sometimes on the other end of the spectrum, make it all higgledy-piggledy, right? No mow March, supporting the bees waking up. Suze, that's a great reminder. So don't mow in March, right? Let everything wake up. The bees and a lot of the different insects and bugs that are out there that are in the leaves, right? That are still in the leaves, their little eggs and stuff. Give them a chance to get going before we mow them and demolish all of that life. So fuzzy and lush. It is. Lynn, that's a beautiful piece. You did great. That was your first piece. And hey, look at this piece. Are you serious? My next contribution is an autumn night scene. I hooked it on an upcycled knitted sweater remnant. This is my own design. I used quillies to mark the ground along with a hooked embroidery stitch. Very nice. Is it like, it's probably like a chain stitch on the surface, right? As you can see, I have yet to finish off the projects. I prefer to start the next one. I'm with you. I'm with you, Lynn. It's much more fun to just get going on the next thing than to do the boring part of the last thing. I'm absolutely with you. Lynn says, thank you for having such a magical website. Thank you, Lynn, for being part of it. It would be nothing if it weren't for you all. That's for sure. Now, what I love about this piece, I'm going to run a few minutes over. Let me just take another quick sip. Pam just added to that conversation, they love the dandelions, don't cut them down. That's a great tip too. Just let it go for a little while, let everything get a head start, and then we're going to start seeing all of the summer characters appear. Deborah says, I love it. It looks like something I might attempt. It's very illustrative, very creative, super creative. I love to see this because I talk about this in a lot of videos and I don't see it a lot. And to be honest, I don't have time to do this a lot. But I've done a lot of videos that say, if you have specifically a Fair Isle sweater, right? This isn't exactly a Fair Isle. This is a knit with lots of. I'm sure on the back it's quite thready, right? Lots of color changes, whether it's hand knit or machine knit. It's probably washed to make it a little bit more full. But sometimes sweaters like this with this many color changes can be bad to cut up into strips to hook with because they're thready, right? And they fall apart because the colors come apart. It depends on how the sweater is made. But sometimes sweaters with these busy patterns are the most beautiful and the most unusable for rug hooking. And the best thing to do if you discover that you have a sweater that you love and you want to work with, or a sweater that is, you just literally can't cut it because it's too beautiful, you want to think about doing this. It's hooking directly into a sweater, right? If you put it onto your frame or put it into a hoop, right? A little bit safer in a hoop, but either will work. Hook right into your sweater, just like you can hook into wool. It's tougher, right? It's not easy, and it will leave holes if you try to pull stuff out. With sweaters, it won't leave holes, right? It's much easier. It's semi-fragile in that you don't want to pull the wool in the sweater, but essentially the sweater becomes your backing material, and you already have this beautiful color palette happening. Lynn, this is a gorgeous piece. Your tree, the harvest moon, the quillies kind of rising up, making this design underneath, really defining the ground. It's a beautiful creative piece. You have managed to create great harmony with the colors of the sweater. That is a gorgeous sweater. Gorgeous sweater. And you've really drawn inspiration from the colors in the sweater to make your piece and to find your materials. It all goes together beautifully. The color palette sings. It's in great harmony. It's a beautiful piece. This would make a great pillow. It could stay in a hoop, right? You could tuck it behind and put it up on the wall. I know you're not quite finished with it yet, or maybe you are. It's absolutely beautiful. Maybe you're ready for the next piece. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm very glad that you sent it, not just because it's beautiful, but because it's a great reminder that when you start doing your spring cleaning, if you're finding stuff damaged or you're a different size, something has a hole, you're sick of the sight of something, you don't want to wear it anymore, you might want to use it to cut up and hook with. You might want to use it this way, right? If it's something really beautiful and you think, oh, I know it's not going to hook well anyway, and I have such fond memories of wearing this sweater, you might want to do this exact treatment, hook right into your sweater. Can you transfer a pattern directly onto your sweater? Not really. Not really. The best you could do is kind of, because the sweater's obviously stretchy. So you're not going to want to do stuff with pinpricks and chalk dust and all that. In theory, you might be able to use a Sharpie and cut stencils. That would be about as close as you could get. Another thing that you could do if you were trying to get shapes onto a busy backing like this is to, yeah, Wendy, this is a great thing to do. And the backing is already done for you, which is just another gift. And Deborah says, oh, no, Sue says, reminds me of Christmas morning. Yep, because it's like an evergreen, right? It could be that feel too because it's a winter sweater. Yep, you could do this in 4 seasons, like the same thing but with different sweaters. Wouldn't that be beautiful? 4 seasons. Ooh, wouldn't that be beautiful? I love that idea actually. Maybe the same tree in 4 seasons, but with like different printed sweaters in the background. Shoot, where was I going 1 second before that? Oh, you know what you could do? If you wanted to, I need some scissors. I've got this instead of scissors. That's helpful. If you wanted to, I don't want to use those scissors. I think I'm going to. If you wanted to transfer an image right onto your sweater, but you're afraid, how am I going to do that? What you could do is create, I'm going to make this very simple because I don't want to ruin those scissors. I'm going to do a simple tree instead of I'm going to show you what I mean, right? I mean a tree like this with this kind of texture, but I'm going to cut it out like this just because these are good scissors. So don't do this, right? But if I were to do this, It's not really going to help me. This is making me nervous. I can't do it. Wait a minute. Let me grab some scissors. Let me grab some scissors. Hang on. God, I'm such a jerk. What do you think? I have 100 pairs of scissors? Um, oh, wait a minute. No, I don't have them there anymore. Do I have them over here? Glasses, glass. Yeah, I got some right here. There we go. There we go. There we go. Always naughty. All right. So if I were to do the tree, say I want to do the tree, it's not going to help me at all to have this part, right? If I take this part and I pin it on the sweater and I'm like, I want to hook that, that's not going to help me at all, is it? Because that's the part I want to hook and it's in the way. This is the part I want. I want the negative. So if you could do this and you could cut it out, you know, if you feel like you need a guideline and you don't like to freehand it, not a lot of people like to freehand it. I'm one of those people too. You could do this and you could pin it, right? I mean, is it going to be a pain in the... Yes, it is. But it can get you started, right? If you cannot make marks onto your sweater, you could pin it on like this and at least just hook within the border and then take it off and you're done. But at least you know you've got the shape equal, right? And for this specific piece, you've also got your, but much bigger, right? Harvest moon, right? If you're like, oh, I'm afraid I'm not going to do it in a careful circle, you have to do the reverse stencil. I think that's the only way that unless you can think of a better way. I mean, I haven't really thought about it until we were sitting here, but that would be as good a way as any, I would think. If you can think of a better way, make sure to let us know. We'll put the tip into Magpie Times, right? All right, let's keep going. Lynn, those were beautiful pieces. Thank you for sending both of those pieces. I'm so glad that you're here with us in the group and that you're working on projects. We will look forward to seeing your next projects, but you've already given us some great inspiration. So thank you so much for sending those pieces. And we just have a couple more. Tara. Remember, Tara was working on this set. Okay, I'm going to say in Tara's own words, I know I'm very late submitting. Well, that's okay because I got it, so it didn't matter. But I just finished up the 11th Northern Lights and only 5 to go. I have to say, working on the series has allowed me to just create. No color plan. So this is a seat of the pants project, isn't it? I just love this. Remember, Tara's doing, okay, so she's doing 16, but remember she said she's going to choose like, did she say she was going to choose 9, something like that, and put them into something together? And so she's doing a whole bunch so she can choose. And remember when we looked at the first set, we said, oh no, well that's never going to work because they're all good. It's going to be impossible to choose which ones you're going to have to keep them all. It's going to have to be 16. And I feel like that more than ever. I know we looked at some of these, but let me show you the close up. And you see she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go. Let me show you them closer up. So this reminds, I mean, this is so Canadian, isn't it? This is like an Emily Carr view, like like formations of stones and piles of stones. I don't know any of the right terms or language for these kinds of, I was going to say totems, but I'm not even sure that that's right. And it's not a rock formation because it's several rocks, but I have seen these in Emily Carr's art, and they are signature sort of Canadian icons on the landscape. Absolutely beautiful. These are small pieces again. Small pieces. These are great. I said this last time, great inspiration for hooking the postcards because very small, only a few choices about colors and lines, but what you get to give, Inkshook. Thank you, Diane. Inkshook. I'm hoping I'm saying that okay. I am so glad that you said that word because I would never have had that word. Thank you so much, Diane. Inukshuk. Cairns. I don't know that word either, Melanie. I think we've got some good words to. You know what I mean, and I don't like to be disrespectful. I just don't know the history as well in Canada as I do here. So beautiful. Such a beautiful piece. What a great composition with that giant moon behind it, right? How mystical is that? That is, and Tara is a bit mystical. That's another one of my sweet loves in my life. Just such a sweet, sweet, sweet person. Fun, funny, wild, raucous, crazy, exciting. right? Talented, just great, a great, great, great person. Another one in the series, A Little Cabin. These are all Canadian scenes, right? Um, oh, please do take photos, Deborah, of the exhibit in May. That would be great. Jessica, you would love these because you are a series person as well. The likeness of a human, Rita says. I've got to go back. It does have that for sure. You are right. It does have. Is that the intention that it's in the likeness of a human? Is that why the rocks are stacked that way? It probably is, isn't it? It can't be a coincidence. I'm being very dim. This is how little I know about um, sort of, I always say Native American, indigenous. That's what I'm looking for. Indigenous culture in Canada. Yes. Okay. Rita, thank you. That's another essential piece. Ruth is saying, how big are these? I don't know. Hold on one second. Let me see if there's any clues. I don't think so. I mean, I'm looking at the rug for a reference. They look pretty dang small, but I don't remember. And she was in a rush to send this today, so she didn't send the measurements. Back into my Coke. I would guess that they're maybe 5 inches. That would be my guess. Maybe 6. Um, I think they're quite small. She's getting a lot of great detail in here. This is another beautiful piece, like a log cabin. Maybe it's a log cabin. Maybe it's a church. Do you see? There looks like there's a stained glass window upstairs. It could be a little place of worship, or it could be a little cabin with a stained glass window. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, Diane says yes with the. Hold on, I'm going to say the right word. Um, Inukshuk, that it is root, and Rita told us that it's in the likeness of a human on purpose, and Diane adds to that by saying yes, and the long arm points to the next community. Okay, that is absolutely beautiful. Let's go back and look. I got to look at the body again. Hang on. I see. God, it's like a signpost, isn't it? Oh gosh, is that beautiful? That is so meaningful. Oh, I'm so glad that we saw that and that we had that conversation because I won't forget that. That's a beautiful detail. Um, Ruth says could be a log cabin church. Could be. The stained glass window always tips me off to that, but I'm just not sure. It could be a recognizable and well known place. Another beautiful piece, and this style of tree, like the group of 7 style trees, right? I always say that, but it is the Canadian tree, and trees do look like this. You do see trees looking like this. I don't know what kind of tree this is, but it does make for some great shapes in painting and in rug art. This is another beautiful piece. Now, hold on. I'm trying to get my bearings here. I'm seeing, let me look at it here first. Wait a minute. I just want to, because I feel like the color is confusing me there. Okay, it's more of a landscape, isn't it? Do you think it's like, wait a minute. Um, I'm wondering if it's a treescape or if it's like northern lights or something. I mean, it could be an abstract, right? It could absolutely be an abstract, but none of the others are. So I'm guessing this is greenery and trees. Does anybody, you all have more information about this series than I do, because I think we've got some Canadians out here who are well on the mark. Um, these are amazing. I especially love the size, such detail. The Northern Lights. Okay. I do too. Fire Love 365. Really, really love these. And the size is amazing, isn't it? They're like little nuggets of perfection. They're little gems, little jewels. Northern Lights. Okay, good. I'm glad it's not just me. I was thinking if I'm missing something or if I have the slide in the wrong way or something, I'm going to kick myself. No, the Northern Lights, of course. So beautiful. Um, and there's is there going to be snow on the ground, do you think? I don't know anything about the Northern Lights either. I don't think they make everything so bright that the ground would be white. So far Tara has these looking very literal. I love the swirls in the sky. My only knowledge of the Northern Lights comes from Hallmark movies. I'm not kidding. So that leaves something to be desired, doesn't it? Deborah says, I will hang his painting with my rug. Oh, okay. You're going to hang your dad's painting with your rug. We did give him lots of praise for his painting. He had never painted before. My mom made me a keychain of it. Oh, that's really nice. My rug is hooked. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Keep us updated, Deborah. That was just beautiful. Ryan, great to see you. A late hello, but it is always great to see you. All right, the Northern Lights. Tara, these are just gorgeous. Oh, okay. So before I move on, hang on. I just want to say, let me come back here and say, Tara, those are gorgeous. I know you have 5 more to do. You are never going to be able to choose less than all 16, right? They are all absolutely beautiful. I mean, they're beautiful and they're already on the backing. Um, we'll wait and see what you want to do. I know you've had a vision for this all along, but I think we all love all of them. I would find it impossible to choose between those, but I'm glad you're having so much fun with them. And thank you for sending that. And so Kirsten gave us a great, many great images this weekend. I'm going to grab my phone. So Kirsten created these patterns, singular or plural, because they can be individual or they can go all together. And so this piece is called Words of Love. And this is by Kirsten. Kirsten is on right now. This is at Ribbon Candy Hooking. The colors that she used, that she plugged in, right? So the colors that she used for, hold on one second. I'm just trying to find this email. Um, Kirsten, how did I, okay, there we go. Wait a minute. Hold on one second. Sorry, everybody. I just want to, yep, there it is, right on top. Um, this is at Ribbon Candy Hooking. And Kirsten says it is available in the S. Kirsten Gay collection for free. If you like, you can make a donation to the Connection, the Feline Connection in Rutland, Vermont, or a local cat rescue. The colors are based on the Pride set, which is a Ribbon Candy Hooking set. Very, very bright, sort of rainbow colors. Um, if folks want to pick up colors close to these colors, it is okay to share with friends. It's not for resale, right? So this is something that Kirsten did as a gift, and she hopes that in place of money, if you love it, if you download them and hook them, that you would think about donating to either her organization, which is the Feline Connection in Rutland, Vermont, or your local cat place, right? Special place in the heart for Kirsten, for so many of us with cats and with the constant need to be placing them and caring for them. So something to think about. Really beautiful. Love this. May we live by this in this time of chaos. Something, if something speaks to you, like Kirsten said, they can be individual patterns, right? You could do just one, or you could put them all together. So, Kirsten, thank you so much for doing this. This is absolutely beautiful, super appealing, and a beautiful pattern to have at Ribbon Candy Hooking. You will find it there again under Kirsten's tab. So when you go to Ribbon Candy Hooking and you look for patterns, Kirsten has her own tag that says S. Kirsten Gay. And this will be one of the things that you find there. And it is a free download. And she's saying it's free to enjoy, free to share. It's not for resale, right? It's to enjoy. Kirsten, thank you so much. It will be fun to see what people do with that. It will be super fun, so colorful. I can't wait to see some of them being finished up. Now, this is our last image for tonight. Jessica sent this to me right before the show. Jessica's still on Cape Cod. Everyone's having busy days. But luckily, I'm usually in front of the computer right before cocktail time. So never feel bad about sending stuff right before the show. If I'm in front of the computer, I'm wolfing down food and I'm looking to see if anybody sent anything. So always do it, right? I loved getting this piece. I put it in right before we got started. Do you remember that Jessica did, this is the Gemini rose. So this is another pattern from the rose book. Do you remember she did the Gemini rose before? It was one of the first roses that was hooked. Jessica, I think you gave the Gemini rose to your sister and you loved it and you wanted it for yourself. Hold on, I just dropped the cap under the table. Oh, I was sure I was going to hit my head on the bottom of the table when I came up. Isn't that a classic? But I didn't. Inukshut. Oop, I almost said a bad word. Inukshuk. 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 Hopefully that, I think maybe that's better, Diane, do you think? Inukshuk. Emphasis in the middle syllable. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to remember that. These are words I didn't hear growing up. Isn't that awful? I heard a lot of Native American words because there's so many Native American tribes in this country and communities, and of course it's all changed and the language has changed over the years. But I only heard ours. So it's like an education anytime we talk about Indigenous Canadian communities. And I do love to learn. Thank you so much. So cool. So Jessica decided she wanted to do another one for herself. She's doing Gemini again, but she's doing it a little bit differently. Now, we talked about this piece in the video. I hope that you watched the video. Oh, Helen, great to see you. Hello in Canada. It is great to see you. Welcome. We are at the tail end, but you know that ever since 7, we've been on for the last 2 hours and some change, and it's all there for you. It was a beautiful show tonight with lots of beautiful work from so many people, so many great artists tonight, as always. Um, this is another gorgeous piece by Jessica. And if you watch the video that I recorded while we were on Cape Cod on Wednesday, she was talking us through this piece. And can you believe she was nowhere near as far done as this, right? Come on. She hadn't finished the door, even started thinking about the door. I feel like it was more than the door that wasn't finished. I felt like part of the bottom of it was also not finished. Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember we were talking about how the door would be done and what color it would be done. And to remember that Fire Love 365, that's just what I was going to say. Jessica's little daughter, Evie, said you should make it a wood door in browns. And I can see that you made it a green door. And I bet that Evie loves it. And I do think it's the right call. I do think it's the right call because it really picks up the other greens and it's a much darker green. It brings the whole thing together. It keeps it magical with kind of a fairy tale look. Um, I bet a wooden door would be great too, but when I see a wooden door, I think of a hobbit door, which brings us more toward fantasy, whereas the green door for me is like firmly rooted, no pun intended, in more fairy tale. I just love the green door. I think it has a lot of, in terms of color, it had a lot of consistency and continuity. And absolutely beautiful. One of the points that I made in the store, you can watch that video after this video when we sign off. It's about a half hour long, and we're looking at Jessica's rugs at the White Cat in Cotuit, Massachusetts on Cape Cod. One of the things I pointed out was that she has got a mirror image from side to side, like the two women are facing each other. That's a mirror image, right? That's the way I drew it. They're both holding needlepoint pieces or rug pieces, and they overlap, right, for all intents and purposes to save the space. Um, Jessica says yes. I'm always getting Evie's opinion. Emerald door is magic. That's exactly it. That's perfectly put. It has a magical feel with the emerald green door. The sort of vines growing up on the side of it. It is very magical. So there is symmetry and kind of a mirror image side to side, but there's also symmetry top to bottom because if your eye follows down, it goes light blue, dark green, medium green, light green. Do you see what I mean? So the darkest values of both the sky and the ground, the blue and the green, the darkest values are in the center. So top to bottom, it's also doing kind of a mirror stretch. Same way as it's mirroring side to side, except top to bottom, it's doing it with color play. And it makes it a very interesting piece. It brings your eye right to the center with the two needlepoint pieces that the women are working on. It's an absolutely beautiful piece. I love this take on the piece because the original Gemini does not have the door. And I love it, as you know, I love it when you all take patterns that I've done and change them to tell stories that are better or speak to you more. I always love that. And I typically love what you did better than what I did anyway. It's always a lot of fun to see that. I'm never one of those designers who gets upset and that's not how it was drawn. You'll never hear that from me. I'm always super excited and even a little bit proud when I see that one of my designs has been the vehicle for you figuring something out or doing something creative and original. If I can be the vehicle for that, I am so proud. I'm so proud of that I even drew this pattern and made that conversation and those changes possible. I love personalization. That's what it's all about. It's not about me. I drew it, right? And now it's on your lap, and you're picking out your colors for it. It's got to be your way. What I was thinking has nothing to do with the way that it should be. It should be always exactly how you see it. and it'll come out the best that way. And this is true. The first Gemini was great. This Gemini is great. They're completely different. One was for your sister, one is for you. So they're for different people. So beautiful. And Jessica says, yes, there were other unfinished parts. Some of the roses weren't finished before. That's what I thought. You were super, super fast. But you're on vacation and hopefully you're getting some time to sit and work. You do move really fast. So this is the last piece we're looking at for tonight. But if you love this piece, and you want to hear more conversation on this piece, remember I posted a video on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. That would have been the 26th, right? And I posted the video from the White Cat, and we're looking at this piece and a few other of Jessica's pieces, and they are all beautiful. It's a great conversation. You get to see her little daughter. Our friend Naomi filmed it. She doesn't like to be on camera. What a lot of beautiful work we saw tonight. Everything was beautiful. Lots of ideas. We saw things that were crocheted. We saw hooked things, punch things, mini punch things, patterns, um, every manner of thing tonight. We got some new tips going tonight. We learned a little bit about Canadian um, um, lore, right? The Inukshuk, with the longer arm pointing toward the next village. What a beautiful piece of history, right? And of Canadian. There's a better word than lore. You know what I mean? Just getting tired. I'm just getting tired. I'm surprised I made it this far because I couldn't fall asleep last night. I could hear Teddy making those crazy noises, and I was afraid that the doctors were wrong and that he does have sleep apnea. And I felt like I had to stay awake to make sure that he kept breathing. And I went to bed so late. I was afraid I was not going to make it. But everything was so interesting to look at and to talk about. It was easy to make it through, that's for sure. It's always not only easy but a pleasure to come on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're here for a couple hours. Sometimes I come to you midweek with videos. I did a video for you this week, not just the one with Jessica on Wednesday, but I made a video for you yesterday and again today. So there's been 3 videos in 3 days here, and so they're not all for everyone, but sometimes I'm working on something, you might be working on something similar. I solve a stupid problem in my head that's driving me crazy. Maybe it's useful to you too, maybe not. You don't have to watch everything, obviously, but hopefully some of the things are like an I should have had a V8 moment, like, oh, obviously, because I forget things and I do stupid things and then I redo things, and sometimes the videos help because you're doing something similar at the same time. I'm sure not nearly as stupid as me, but you know what I mean. Thank you so much to you all, looking forward to checking out what I missed. Yep, there's a few on there. Thank you, Mom. Thumbs up. And thank you, Patreon supporters. As soon as I log off, I'm going to send you the picture of the mermaids, the Cahoon mermaids. That'll go up in ribbon candy hooking as a pattern, but that will go free to Patreon members because I always want to thank you always for your support. Obviously, I couldn't be here and I couldn't be doing this and I couldn't be taking time out of my work schedule and my family schedule to do live shows and record videos and do all of the outreach stuff that I do if you didn't give me the support that you give me. I always appreciate that. So you can look forward to that. Hopefully, look forward to that pattern. As soon as I finish the show, I'm going to stay seated right here, get a glass of water, stay seated. That's the next thing I'm doing. Otherwise, I will be with you on Monday. We'll have a live show. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but we'll do something. We'll do something great. That's for sure. I'll be with you at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Remember all the dates I gave you at the beginning. The Sonia Delani class is coming up. Design Light class that happens over Zoom, and it's recorded if you can't be there in person. Coming up Wednesday, April 9th and Thursday, April 17th. Look for those at Ribbon Candy Hooking. Also remember that next Friday, a week from today, is the eve of International Punch Needle Day. So make sure that between now and next Friday, you're sending me images of your punched pieces, punch needle only, mini punch, which is also called Russian punch, and traditional punch needle, Oxford punch. Send me your punch pieces so next Friday night we can have an all punch needle episode on the eve of International Punch Needle Day. And besides all the Oxford stuff that's taking place, on behalf of Tigger, Rebecca of Storyteller Wool is going to be punching something and showing some of her live tips, some of her punch tips live for some of the techniques that she gets. She will be live with you on International Raw Cooking Day. I'll give you all the details for that, I think on Monday. But let's be looking forward to that next week so we can have a nice full show that is all about punch next Friday. In the meantime, I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. And great work this week, great work this month. Take care.